idiot. Right, welcome. Brooksy's Base Corner, live chat 83, coming to you from London in the UK. It's Tuesday night, 8 o'clock. The best live chat here on YouTube. I can't find any others that are regular. It's good to see you. Come on in. We're talking bass guitars, bass amps, bass effects, bass accessories, strings, leads, anything to do with basses. You want to talk about great bass players, albums with great bass players on. Maybe you're trying to set up a pedal board, doing your first audition as a bass player, looking to join a band. If we can offer any advice and information, that's what me and the group are all here for. So it's good to see you. Come on in. This is live chat 83. Can't believe we've done 83, but we have. There we go. So I'm going to now rattle through the stuff I just did for the last 8 minutes, and I'll try and keep it as short as I can. Right, go. This is the live chat. This is the live chat window that you're watching. Okay, so directly below this, you're going to find the description box. In there, you'll find affiliate links for Brooksy's Base Corner merch available around the world, worldwide. So t-shirts, caps, we're talking mouse mats, we're talking mugs, we're talking glasses, t-shirts, hoodies, all of that. You'll find that and the links in the description box below. After that, you'll find affiliate links for vidIQ, Top Cashback, StreamYard, the Bass Center here in the UK. So if you're looking for Bass Center merch or Betsy or any of the equipment from the British Bassmasters series or Bass Center Elite strings, all the links are directly below in the description box. So 40th anniversary caps, t-shirts, all of that sort of thing. If you're a bass player of my vintage, the Bass Center will probably feature fairly heavily in your influences as a young player. So they're celebrating their 40th anniversary this year. Get your merch before it sells out. There's only a couple of months left and then it'll all be gone. So do that. So then in the description box, after those links, you'll find bass retail links. So if you're looking to buy a new bass, an amp, speaker, strings, pedals, accessories, any of that sort of stuff, we have affiliate links for Amazon worldwide, Thomann, Andertons, and Gear for Music. So if you've got a bass related purchase, by all means use those retailer links. The channel gets a very small affiliate commission, and I do mean small, but all those small commissions go to help the channel oil the algorithm, if you like, and it helps to keep the channel moving in the right direction. After the affiliate links and description box, you'll find the social media links. You'll find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter X, Be Real, Reddit, Quora, Discord, and TikTok. After the description box, you'll find the comments section. So I've been saying this in recent weeks on the live chats. It's really important for you to give the videos a thumbs up. Please leave comments and please share the videos, not just the live chat, but the videos on the channel generally. You can share them out to social media, email, websites, anywhere you like. It all helps, and it helps to advance the videos within the algorithm. So then the videos get shunted out to more viewers, and that's how that works. Underneath the video, you'll find a thumbs up and a thumbs down. So if you can give the video a thumbs up, it's very important. And thank you very much in advance. If you're going to give the video a thumbs down, maybe there's something you don't like or something on the channel you don't like, then please leave a comment. Let me know what you don't like. So I can't make the videos better and I can't make the channel better if you don't tell me what the problem is. So I'll try my best to improve on the things that you don't like. So there's a thumbs up, thumbs down. There's the share arrow. There's the save. I think it's now called downloads. You can download videos to watch at a later date. There's also a love heart there with a dollar symbol. That's called super thanks. That allows you to donate to the channel if you're enjoying the video. It works on every single video here on Brooksy's Base Corner because we're a monetized channel. So if there's a video that you enjoy or some information that you glean from one of the videos or some advice that really helps you solve a bass playing problem, feel free to hit the super thanks button and you can donate to the channel if you wish to do so, but you don't have to. The videos are free to watch. There's also a shop icon there, which is also related to Brooksy's Base Corner merch. That's YouTube's version. YouTube take a percentage of any sales through that store. So you can either buy the merch directly through my links in the description box, or you can buy it through the YouTube store directly on each video. At the bottom of the live chat, so if you're on the desktop version, the live chat window is that way. If you're on the mobile app, it's directly below. You'll see the chat at the bottom. There's a section that says comment or chat. Leave your messages in there. Press send. They appear here in the chat window. At the bottom of that chat window, you'll see an emoji icon. So feel free to hit the emoji icon as much as you like. It's good for the algorithm, good for the video. Very helpful indeed. And next to that, you'll see a rectangle with a dollar symbol. That's called Super Chat. It basically works the same as Super Thanks. So if you wish to make a donation to the channel, hit the Super Chat button and you can do so. It doesn't need to be a big donation. It can be small, but all those donations go towards buying all the things you see here on the channel. So the lights, microphones, leads, stands, all the stuff you see in the workshop videos, the basses, the pedals, everything. So everything here on the channel is paid for. None of it comes to me for free. That's it. Right. That was it with sound. How good was that? Good to see you all. Welcome all. Right. Let me rattle through this. Right. Visog, good evening. Good to see you. Stacy, is it me or is there no sound? Let me check the bits and bobs on your side. Yeah. No, it was me. It was a button on the interface. Don't worry. Pink Bassman, Mr. Millard from overseas. Good to see you. Stacy, Mike Viter. There's no sound. There is now. I'm sorry, Mike. Sorry. There was a button on the interface that I didn't push. My fault. William Derbyshire, good to see you. My mum. Hello, mum. There we are. Right. We are rattling through the comments. Yes. Sue, you may need to ring the landline. William Derbyshire, yeah, Stacy, Mike Viter, there we go. T-Type, yeah, Manfred Oliveris, good to see you. Hi, Marcus Miller, Flea, Jacko, Eddie Jackson. This is regarding the topic of conversation tonight. We'll get to that shortly, Manfred. Bear with me. Steve Badak, good to see you. I haven't seen you in a while. Just want to sound like me on bass. That's all fine, well and good. So since last week, what have we been up to? Let me see. So at the weekend, we had an Uncle Funk show here in London. We did a wedding over in Shoreditch, went very well. I committed the cardinal sin. So the week before we did an Uncle Funk show, and regulars here on the live chat will know I've mentioned last week that I snapped a string. So this bass is heading to the workshop. As you can see, that string is absolutely gone. Snapped at the bridge. Didn't have time to do the workshop videos last week. So it was like, okay, take another bass out of the rack. That's fine. So I took the Status Empathy, of course, and turned up, and I made sure before I left home that I had a battery for the LEDs. New strings were on from the setup last year. Everything was good. Get to the gig. I'm sort of, yeah, everything's fine. Got my bag, got my costume, leads, got my pedals. Excellent. Right. Settle the gear up, start tuning up, and there's no signal going to the tuner. I'm like, what the hell's going on? I hadn't put two batteries in the circuit. I checked the LED battery. I hadn't checked the standard batteries for the circuit. I tend not to keep batteries in bases that are sat in the rack. So thankfully we were in the center of town. So it was a quick sprint around the corner to the local supermarket, 2 Duracells, and that was the problem solved. So if you're taking a base out that you haven't taken out in a while, check your circuit batteries if it's an active base. I can't believe I did it. And normally I'd have my the bag that I take with me to gigs. So I have all the batteries back up in here, like 4 9 volts and a bunch of AA's. I didn't have my bag with me because I was traveling light. So I kind of shot myself in the foot there. But hey, that was a good wake-up call. So we had that. And then Sunday we had the Uncle Funk's Decades of Dance rehearsal, which I mentioned last week. So that went very well. We cut a couple of songs out, changed a couple of arrangements. It was all good. 6-hour rehearsal. So kind of all good, really. Next rehearsal for that is not this weekend, but the weekend after, which is a full dress rehearsal. After that, we've got the first show. So it's getting sort of exciting. So tonight, I think I mentioned on last week's live chat, we were going to go through the pedal board. We're not. I've got to make some changes. Some of the pedals are going to come off. A few of them were redundant. I put things on there that didn't really need to be on there. So I can take a few off and rejig it. So you will see that next week because I'm going to finish setting that board up on Saturday coming. So next week's live chat, we'll have the new pedal train board ready to rock and roll. And I'll probably do the live chat next week, sat down in front of the wall of amplification, and we'll run through all the pedals on there. So that was kind of been my week, and having a boiler repaired here at home, new boiler installation, all sorts of things going on. It's a little bit chaotic at the moment, but it's all good. I can see things popping up here. Manfred Oliveras, popcorn yellow striped smile, popcorn yellow stripe. I'm guessing you hit an emoji there and something's gone a little wrong. Mike Viter, anybody try GR Bass Active cabinets? I haven't yet. I know Bass Direct here in the UK are the UK distributors, but I haven't used them yet. There hasn't been a huge impact here in the US. Problem with amplification at the moment is a lot of players are moving to IEM setups and pedal boards, and it's having a big effect on the amplification manufacturers. So I'm guessing that might be why it's not having a huge impact in the US. Jaymi Millard, I can blow them fairly easily. Blow batteries or strings? What are we talking here? Speakers, maybe. You've caught me unawares, my friend. Caught me unawares. So speakers, very good. Very good. Yes, yes, you can. I'm going to bring you on the live chat very shortly. So tonight's topic of conversation, I'm going to rattle this off, get this underway, and then we'll come to you, Jaymi. So obviously anyone wants to join in the live chat, we now have the video facility, so it doesn't have to just be confined to the comments section. You can come on here, talk to me one-to-one. We can actually have up to 8 of us talking bass here in like a Zoom video format. So if you want to join in, email brooksysbasscorner@gmail.com, as you can see on the ticker running along the bottom of the screen. You email me, I send you an invite, you click on the link in the invite, and then you come through, and then we add you into the video chat. That's how it works. Very simple, very effective. It works great. So topic of conversation this week. So I'll change the banner. So if you've come in from YouTube directly or any of the social media, whose bass tone would you most like to emulate? Might be one of your heroes. It might be someone who's not your hero, but maybe you're playing a tribute band or a covers band. You're trying to nail someone's sound. What are you trying to get to? Whose tone are you trying to emulate? Is there a player who, like I say, it might not be your preference or your musical taste, but like some people aren't particularly Yes fans, but they love Chris Squire's bass tone, or someone that isn't a Who fan but wants to sound like John Entwistle. So let me know, whose bass tone would you most like to emulate? Maybe there's several. I mean, for me, I had loads that I was trying to emulate when I was younger. And as I've done more and more gigs and become more experienced, I've taken bits from a lot of players, and that's kind of built the sound I've now got. Can't say there's anyone now that I'm particularly trying to emulate. I think wouldn't say I've grown out of it, but I know what my sound is, and I'm happy with that. But yeah, let us know. Put it in the text box or come on the video chat and we can discuss it. Steve Badat, after getting that Geddy Lee Sonsamp pedal, I'm in tone heaven. Excellent stuff. And I'm not even really a Rush guy. This is what I'm saying. You might appreciate certain bass tones. You might not be a fan of the artist or the band that they play for, but you might really like the bass sound. Loads of people try to emulate John Taylor from Duran Duran sound from Rio and the first album. They're probably not so keen on the tones he's used afterwards because they've been less sort of lively and vibrant and resonant. But there are a lot of bass players that try to get that ARIA sound. What they don't realize is he used a whole multitude of different ARIA basses. So everyone always assumes it's an SB 1000, but it could be SB 900, might have been a 1200. First album was on a 600, 700, 700, I think. So yeah, Jaymi Millard, Sonsamp is very versatile. Okay, I've got the chat topic up and running. Right, let's bring Mr. Millard to screen.
We are here.
Hold on, there we go. Yeah, there.
Hello.
How we doing?
Good, how are you?
So everyone here on Brooksy's Bass Corner, this is Jaymi Millard. Now tell me which state you're in.
I'm in Tennessee, in Nashville.
There you go. Nashville, no less. Lovely to have you on the channel at last.
Thank you. It's nice to see you.
Yeah, we've never actually met. I think
no.
The year you came to the London Bass Guitar Show was the year I wasn't there.
Funny how that works, isn't it?
Which year did you go?
Oh, I got to think, because I've gone to NAMM show for probably the past 15 years. So it's somewhere in the midst of it all.
It was probably the year I was on an Israel trip.
That's
was
possible.
It the year John Taylor was there?
It's possible, yeah. Could be.
Yeah, 2014. So I was meant to be there, and I ended up with a month of shows. And we did all the prep and what have you leading up to it. And then I got that booking. It was like, oh, I'm not going to be there. And I'd said to Joel, the editor, we really got to get John Taylor here. He managed to pull a few strings. We get John Taylor, who was announced as the final guest, which I thought, wow, that's a masterstroke. And then realized I'm not going to be there. But there we are. It
kind
happened.
of a bummer. Yep.
That's it. So how's things with you?
Oh, we're doing good. By the way, did I see something on the rack behind you, the headstock that looks kind of like this? Did I see something back there that?
Yes, you did.
Ah, something that looks. Let me do it like this. Something that looks kind of like this,
or not quite as colourful as that, of course. Yes,
this lovely little bit right here.
That's it. Feel free to show off your wares, but of course.
Well, this is the fretless JD.
Yes.
This is the one I was messing with you about, that they sent me sunglasses with.
No, well, quite.
Because, neon pink does have its ways.
Well, I'm all for that. I'm all for those sort of things. So what made you choose a maple fingerboard for fretless?
I wanted to experiment because everything they do has ebony attached to it.
Yeah.
And so one of the funny things is the Diggins clan told me that they've never done a maple fingerboard on a fretless. And then of course there's this bloke.
I should say to the watching millions here, this man has a very exotic taste in basses. So strap yourselves in, boys and girls. It's going to be lively.
Well, so with that said, I should probably grab this one. Because for anybody who keeps up with me, this is the Attitude.
You had that paint job done, didn't you?
I did. This originally came to me black.
That's it. I've got a black one here. Yeah.
Yep. So this one.
So is that a limited 2 or a limited 3?
This is a 3.
Oh, okay.
So yeah. So there's
that
one. And the one that I don't normally bring out too much, but for you, I shall. This was a gift from Mr. Sheehan.
Rose blue.
Yep. This is one of 3 that was painted rose blue by Yamaha for Billy.
Very nice.
So now, just to be a wise guy, since we're
how do they compare sound wise? Because essentially, you'd think they'd be close, but I suspect the older one, the rose blue, has probably got a slightly meatier tone because of the extra wood on a BB.
So you would think so, but here's what's funny: the rose blue actually sounds like a straight precision bass, whereas the Attitude sounds like a precision that's been ramped up with steroids.
Yeah.
So if I want to do traditional goes to rose blue, goes to Attitude.
Oh, okay. But same pickups in both?
No, they're totally different.
Okay.
Totally different. Now I'm going to pull something I don't normally show either. Speaking of Chris Squire, this is a 1970 21 fret. I made these for a year.
Get you. Yeah.
So that's that one. There's all kinds of other little naughty bits. Oh, and if you want to be truly silly.
It's what we're here for.
Right. Well, here, look at this.
Well, my word. So you don't bring that out for the pub gigs when you're doing Brown Eyed Girl, then?
No, this one doesn't come out a whole lot because it weighs a metric ton.
Nice.
And with eight strings, you know what it's going to happen. You know what it's going to do.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
yeah, it's going to be a little overpowering.
Indeed.
Nice. Well done. Well done. So
Cheers.
Is that the bulk of the collection?
Oh no, there's
I thought
actually there's 3 of these.
Here we go.
These are 3 of 200.
Nice.
They're all the Black Star bases. So if you think back to the Smithereens,
yeah,
that was Mike Massaros' bass. I have 3 of them.
Ah, very nice.
And one last one just for posterity. The 1968 4001.
That's great. That's lovely.
So this is the one
very, very close to Mr. Squire with that.
Indeed. I actually had one that was 6 serial numbers off of Mr. Squire's actual bass.
Superb.
It's crazy.
Did it sound similar?
It was aggressive like crazy.
Oh, there we go.
We loved it. You could plug in, and if you wanted to play with a plectrum, play with a pick, hit the back pickup and go.
Excellent.
Indeed.
Woo. I'd be well up for that.
you must pull out that certain bass with that headstock back there, because I
well, before we get to that, obviously, I know you've remarked on it several occasions. So, although it doesn't quite look as pink as it actually is, but it is. Well, it's coral pink. So it kind of changes hue depending on the lighting it's in. So it looks a bit washed out and faded, but then it can look like orangey pink. Yeah, very nice.
That works.
This is July 89, so it was one of the ones Fender made, but this was one of a batch of 200 that Fender did where they didn't seal the multi-laminates. So people are going, what's he talking about? There's 36 maple laminates in that neck, and Fender didn't seal it. And the neck used to go like this all the time. And back in the old days before we had email, we had Unix news groups. Remember news groups?
I do.
And I contacted Phil Kubicki via one of those. And so as soon as I gave him the serial number, he went, oh yeah, that's one of the ones that hasn't got a sealed neck. Take it off, post it back to me. I'll sort it out for you and I'll send it back. And he did. And it's been perfectly all right ever since. So, right, let's get this JD for you.
Because you know.
So, there we go. Series 3.
Oh, that's lovely.
An 88.
Good one.
Wasn't my purchase, it was someone else's, and it's come to me via various means. But it plays okay. The lovely Joe Goose, who will no doubt appear later on, big JD fan, Joe Goose, sent me some screws because JD were a little bit overwhelmed with making basses. They couldn't send me some replacement screws. So 2 of the screws in the bridge saddles have stripped, so I can't lower the G string. And who wants a raised G string, frankly? So that'll be going on the workbench for a tidy up and a polish, some new strings, sort all the screws out, and then it'll be ready to play. But yeah, nothing fancy on the headstock, fairly standard. But it's okay, you know, it's got a couple of dings. It's done its share of gigs, I think, by previous owners. But
yeah, that's good stuff. I'll send you an address for post.
Yeah. I'll just send a plane over. Yeah.
There you go.
So yeah, anything else that you've ever seen that you want to? Oh well, bases. So we get the lovely Betsy out, of course. So have you any experience with these yet?
I have not. I've heard great things about them, but I don't know anyone here who has one, simply for the fact that there are jazz basses by the thousands here.
Of course. Well, these aren't that expensive. I think for American buyers, they're about $595. You don't pay that. So, allow me to educate you a little. So, you know what it is. You know who it's based on. EMG's in it. Ebony board, which isn't bad for a budget-priced jazz bass. And the thing just sings. It's got like a piano tone to it. Plays great. Loads of punch. Deep. Articulate in the top range. Anything that I would normally associate with a fairly dead sounding jazz bass, this isn't it.
Nice.
It's does everything a good active jazz should, but obviously it's not an active circuit, it's just active pickups. Batteries under the plate. Old style vintage bridge, so you can change the string spacing. It's great. And who doesn't like a bit of Burgundy Mist, frankly?
Indeed. Thank you, Guy.
They are great value for money.
That's awesome.
So over here in the UK, it's about £650, but for a really great jazz bass. And like I say, ebony board, so it's got more attack, more punch, a bit more power to the delivery. It's all good.
Cool.
All good. So yes, what have you been up to? Let's know your projects. What you do some self-advertising, young man.
Oh, all right. Well, I've got a metal band that's called Applehead, and we have an album we released last year. It's melodic 80s, 90s, but it's all original. So there's some Queen in there. There's some Pink Floyd in there. There's a little Thumb in there if you want to start hitting the strings.
Quite right, too.
But all to a metal beat.
Okay.
So we're doing some
and is that with people? Is that with people you knew before, or is that just a new project from scratch?
So actually, it's a new project from scratch, and I was able to bring in one of the guitar players for a country artist that I play for named Ryan Weaver.
Okay. So
I do a little bit of this, a little bit of that. You know, that's the beauty of living in Nashville is you have that opportunity. So, you know, I don't get to slap as much as you do, but
I don't do any. To be fair,
I thought you did. I thought you.
No, we were having this discussion on last week's live chat. In that, when you're younger, when you're starting out on bass, you do all the frilly stuff, you do all the fancy stuff because you think that's what you have to do. And as you grow older and you do more gigs, you realize all that stuff that you learned when you were younger, you don't use. They're nice to have there in the armament when it's called upon. But I was trying to work out how many slap things I've done since I turned pro. So first thing I was in was a glam rock tribute band. There was no slapping in that. In the covers band I was in for 17 years, the only thing I slapped was the bass solo in Call Me Al and a song called Hot, Hot, Hot. There was a bit of slap, but most of the time I played it with fingers. In the disco band, the only slap thing really is in Car Wash. That's it. There isn't really any other well, we did Forget Me Nots for about 12 months, and that's it. So other than all of that, I don't really slap that much. And we were talking about keeping technique and keeping sort of on top of all those things. But, you know, you could spend all your time trying to keep all your tapping and the fancy stuff together. But when it comes to it, it's meat and potatoes, fingerstyle, pick, bit of slap here and there. But most of the time it's, you know, keeping the band anchored. And that's not going to be playing slap unless you're in a jazz funk band or something like a level 42 tribute band. You're just not going to do it. But having it, you know, having those things, having that ability to do it when called upon is a great thing to have. But, you know, don't spend 10 hours of your day practicing slap chops, because unless that's what you like, you know, if that's your thing, go for it. But, you know, that's not going to pay your mortgage.
No, it's not. Unless, of course, you know, you're Chuck Rainey and you play Steely Dan's Asia and you turn the bass around so you can do this real fast when they told you not to.
Of course. That's how it works. Tricks of the trade.
Yes, indeed.
I can see a lot of messages flying in here. So let's see. Sons aren't very versatile, as you said. Stacey Ann from North Carolina. Hey, Tennessee. Mike Viter, maybe I'm an idiot. What is an IEM setup? Okay, Mike, we're talking IEMs, so in-ear monitoring. So just to give you an example, so before we went into lockdown, I had an IEM setup, but I hadn't really used it very much. We had COVID. I came out of COVID. I'm now in a 10-piece disco show band, which has no backline on stage. If you stood on stage with us, aside from what's going on out front from the PA, the only thing you would hear acoustically is voices, drums, sax, and trumpet. You won't hear any keys, you won't hear any bass, you won't hear any guitar. So we're running on IEM. So basically, it's like a wireless setup. You have in-ears, which you can buy on Amazon for 45 quid. You can spend £700 if you wish to have custom molds, but personally, I don't. So these have 5 drivers in them. I get all the bass response and top end I need. It's like listening to a CD. So basically, I have these in my ears. That runs into a battery pack, which is a receiver. The transmitter is in the band rack. So basically, what I need to hear comes out of that transmitter, comes to my receiver, and then I can hear everything I'm doing. I have an iPad which has a band mixer on there, which I have in front of me by my pedals, and basically I have a complete mixing board there, the whole band, so I can turn things up, down, EQ them how I want. So it means we don't have any monitors on stage and we have no backline. It makes for a really enjoyable gigging experience. It's different. It's not the solution to everything, and there are sometimes I prefer using amps and cabs like I do with a Queen tribute. You want some heft, but working with IEMs, good for the ears, less gear to carry about. If the show goes down, then the whole band goes down. For ages I carried on bringing an amp and a cab even when we were running on ears, and then I realized the penny dropped, and I was like, well, if it all stops working, then all the band's going to walk off anyway. So me having an amp and a cab is by the by. You know, it doesn't make a sod of difference to anyone. So that's what IEMs are. If you want to talk more about that, Mike, just post messages and I'll reply to them as they pop up. So Stacy, hey Tennessee, I'm in North Carolina. How are you doing in the aftermath of Hurricane Helene?
I can answer that one. I can answer that one. Where I am, really, we got nothing. That's out in the East Tennessee area. So mid-state, we're clear.
You're okay. And you're not going to get hit with this new one, are you?
To my knowledge, no.
It looks like it's going, so it's going to hit west side of Florida and then go out. So it'll be coming our way. That's what's going to happen.
That's the joke about sending you something from across the pond.
Quite.
Yes.
Quite. Stacy, oh snap, is that hot pink? Yes, Jaymi. This man is all about the pink. Don't worry about that.
Indeed.
Martin Fay, Mike Vitter, I think that was IEM in-ear monitors. Yes, it was, Martin. Good to see you. Welcome all the way from Dublin. Stacey saying hello to Martin. Oh, look at that snazzy. She's talking about your bases. Gareth Harrison, good to see you, my man. Hope you're well, all the way from Manchester. Frosted Head. Don't think you've been here on the live chat before, but you're very welcome. Good to see you. Bass Tone, Entwistle, Jacko, Geddy Lee. A fine trio you've picked there, sir.
Indeed.
Stacey being taken aback by your bass collection. Very good. Mike Vitter, thank you, Martin. Okay. Jaymi saying we like pink, of course. Gareth Harrison, love the sound and luck of Ricky's. I think you've spelt that wrong there. Love the sound, luck of Ricky's, but never. Right, I got it. But never found one that you've gotten on with. It's like with any bass, you can have 10 versions of the same instrument right there. Some you're going to bond with, some you aren't. Luck of the draw sometimes. Steve Bedak, I think I've slapped less than 5 times in my whole career. That's what I'm saying. You've responded to Stacey. Very nice. Gareth, Ricks are fun, but most either love them or hate them. I love the sound of them. I'm not necessarily a fan of playing them. And I think quite a lot of people go that way. Do you ever see Dave's World of Fun stuff?
Do I ever see what?
Dave's World of Fun stuff on YouTube.
Oh, yes.
Yes, he's not a Rick fan. And some of what he says, kind of agree, like the bridge. It's a nonsensical bridge. It does what it does, but if you have to try and maintain it, and it's not the easiest thing to work with.
It's rubbish. It's rubbish.
Yeah, I think if someone brought one to me and said, "Can you set this up and fix that bridge?" I'd just go, "No." Let someone else deal.
That's why so many people change the bridge on them, because the bridge is actually very difficult to work with.
Yeah, it's almost like dealing with like cast metal parts that just don't do anything.
Absolutely.
Especially if you have to cut the saddles down, it's just really, technology's moved on. We don't need to be doing that.
Right. We're out of the 1930s. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Steve Badak, I think I've slapped. That's right. We've done that bit. Sorry. Gareth Harrison, Paul Samuel Smith. Good choice, sir. Bruce Foxton from the Jam, Tony Butler, Big Country, Mick Quinn, Supergrass. See, you and I, Gareth, we definitely have that appreciation of Mick Quinn. You said to Steve, I used to do it a bunch. Slap sneaks out at short times. I should say, we've never had this discussion. I loved your YouTube videos.
Oh, thanks.
So was that you working for a store, or were you selling those bases yourself?
So my YouTube channel is kind of an anomaly, because initially I began when I was an artist playing for Spectre. and I had 14 of them, and I would have all the guys asking, well, what does this one sound like versus that one? So I made videos, and at the time it seemed like the thing to do. And then suddenly I'm being asked more questions, so more videos came, and as I shifted gear and went to different basses, it just became a thing. So let's make a bass video, and we'll go through and twiddle the knobs and play the strings and do all this. And you know, if I decide I don't like it anymore, you can actually see it and hear it by under my hands, of course, but you can tell, at least to get an idea of what the bass does. And so it became a kind of a combination of selling tool for me every time I would pick something up and got tired of it or wanted something else. Or if somebody said, you know, I want to know what that one is, can you do something with it? So I still do those. I have to do the 1970, the natural Rick. I haven't done that one yet because I need to do a couple little tweaks on the wiring because it's a little bit funky.
Okay. We all have one of those.
Indeed.
There's always one that's a little bit temperamental. But no, I love those videos. They still come up in my feed. Like just out of nowhere, I suddenly get you doing the yellow
pinkness.
JD.
You get pinkness.
Or yellow JD or natural JD or the Alembics, or it just goes on and on and on. So those were great videos.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
That's okay. That's how I first got to know you, seeing those. And then obviously on social media, I followed you, saw you were mates with Nick Smith, and then it's like, okay, right, yes.
I have a Nick Smith story.
Go on. I think a lot of
so I was actually, I think you said someone in here is from Ireland. Hello to you in Ireland. I was, I did a tour of Ireland with a band, probably 2013-ish. And I've been working with the Bluesmen Vintage bass group. And we were talking about creating something for Nick Smith. And so I put together a kind of a Fiesta Red PJ Fender style that would kind of go along with the one he had that you always see him talking about, this lovely bass from 1983 and all that stuff he does, you know, all the Chinese speak and all that. So
that was very good Liverpudlian accent.
Thank you. He and I, we've gone on for years like that, but he told me, he said, I've got this thing I think you would like. And I said, what's that? Of course. So, of course, he hands me a JD. Yeah. And
so was that your introduction to them?
No, actually, I purchased one at Guitar Center that had been repaired. The headstock had been snapped. And they had repaired it, and it was completely flat. And the action was super low, which I love. So it was an amazing bass. But he had a roadie one, which is the single pickup, kind of like the one I have here with the stripes and such. And so he actually hopped the ferry with it and came across to Ireland, and he actually hung out with me while I played a gig.
Nice. Was that the kind of sunbursty looking one?
Yeah, it was actually, since you're wearing the shirt, it was actually in the advert in the Bass Center for the 80s. It was the actual bass in the advert.
The book is in it was in the Watt bass book as well. My book's in the other room, so can't go get it.
That's the one he gave me.
Cool.
Yeah, that was it. Nice. So I gave him the Bluesman, and he was all, happy and giddy and all that sort of thing. And I took the JD and I played it for the gig. And I was in. We actually traveled across Ireland with that band. I went from Dublin, Belfast to Westport, all the way on the coast.
Nice.
Lots of fun.
Yeah.
So that's my Nick Smith.
Did you sell it on?
So ironically, what happened was the truss rod quit working, and it was tightened up and it wasn't going any further. So I actually had it repaired. I had took it to a guy here in town, and I asked him to replace the rod, and he did. And after that, it wasn't the same.
Funny that, isn't it?
Oh yeah, so of course that means
you're just replacing the metal and off you go.
Yep, you would think it'd be that simple. Yeah, it's not that simple. So it got shifted on.
Very good. I've heard many early Warwick owners. I'm sure you've heard the horror stories. So many of the early Warwicks up until about 92, 93, they had snapping truss rods in the thumbs and streamers. And at the time, Warwick was so taken aback that they would repair them for free. And as time went on, more and more of these bases appeared, and they said, we're going to be swamped. You know, we've got new bases to bring out, and the production line is always going. And in the end, I think a lot of the repairs didn't get done, or if you wanted it done, you had to pay for it.
Yeah. I actually had a streamer stage 2 that had one of the early, it was an early one, and it had one of the old iron truss rods.
Iron, that's a good material in a base neck.
Oh, great.
Might as well pick out lead.
Yeah, when it breaks, you might as well just call it a day.
Well, that's it.
So I think that one got shifted on also.
You're going to have to disassemble the fretboard and, you know, hope that you can get at it that way as opposed to from the back. But like you say, it might never be the same base again.
Yeah, and I've encountered that a few times with things I've reworked over the years. It's not uncommon. So,
no. And especially on things like Warwick's, because back then they were using things like Wengi and Paduk and ebony as well. Those woods are constantly at force with each other.
Oh, you know, definitely.
How many ebony fingerboards split, and not the easiest woods to be dealing with if you're going to replace truss rods.
In any way, shape, or form, for real.
Crazy stuff. Crazy stuff.
Yes.
It's just okay. We've got so if you want to join me and Jaymi here on the live chat by video, you can do. Email me at brooksysbasscorner@gmail.com. I'll send you an invite. Click on the invite. You can come straight into the chat here. We're talking bass guitars, amps, effects, accessories, strings, all of that caper. If you're first time here on Brooksy's Bass Corner, you're very welcome. It's good to see you. First time Jaymi's been on here. It's the first time we've actually spoken face to face ever.
It's fun.
Conversation had been by text. Well, we try our best.
Yeah,
we did have 1 week quite early on in this season of live chats when we started doing the StreamYard thing. We had 6 of us on here. It was crazy, and I'm trying to direct it, going right. You talk to that, and it got wild. It was good fun though. It was good fun. We were all trying to answer each other's questions. Let's see, John Cooper. Good to see you. Welcome, my friend. How are you? Good evening, Brooksy and all. Hope everyone's well. I've got a small collection of tone patches on my line 6 entitled Marcus, Pino, King, Bootsy, Jacko, and Jameson. Very good. That's a clever way of doing it. But mostly the tone is my own. Yeah. Totally get it. Totally get it. See, in years ago, when I first turned pro in 95, there wasn't gear that allowed you to do that. You literally had to, if you had a multi effects, it would have been either a Zoom or one of the early Boss ones, and you literally had to bend down and turn the dials, and that was it. You couldn't set presets. That came later on. So we're spoiled with gear now, believe me.
Even the early Sans amps. Think about the early Sans amp.
Well, exactly. Well, it was dip switches.
Right. It was those, and then when they finally came to it, you came out and you had knobs, dials. I can't remember we're in UK, so I can't say knobs. I have to say dials.
Oh, you can say no. All language is acceptable on here. Don't worry about it.
Perfect. Well, I think of Mark King saying it means something completely different.
Well, yeah. Mark's a force unto himself. So
indeed.
John Cooper, Mike, how did the new pedal board work out? Well, as I mentioned about 20 minutes ago, John, I set it all up, took it to rehearsal, and realized about 4 of the pedals were redundant. So that's why we're not talking about it tonight, but we will be next week, because this weekend, after Friday, I don't have a gig. So Saturday and Sunday, I have time to reconfigure the board again and have it ready for next Sunday, which is the dress rehearsal before the first show. So by next Tuesday, the board will be finalized and up and running. So next week's live chat will be that new board with all the new pedals. I can actually show you. Actually, you can have your input on this. So let me share that picture. Right, share that. I need to just find. So this was my proposed new board. Now I saved it in. I saved it in there. I took a photo of it. So I set it all up in the pedal train configurator, and then they've updated the app, and you can't get your old setups, which is really handy. Now, where did I save it to? I think I saved it in here. I could be wrong. I did find it for last week's live chat, and I moved it to another folder so that I didn't lose it. He says, and now he can't find it. That's good.
So you moved it and you lost it.
I moved it and I've lost it. Yeah. So
yes.
I think I know where I've put it. I think I stuck it under live chat graphics, didn't I? Did I? I might have done. Where is it? I found it last week. Did I put it under there? Nope. It's good. It's riveting, this live chat. You see, this is what happens.
It's like live music.
Man, tell me about it. Live chat. I'll find it at some point tonight. It might have been in here. Thankfully, I did a screenshot of it, which meant I still had a photo of it. Came after. Is that your aircon kicking?
A bit, yeah.
Yeah. Can take off.
Pretty soon I'll be landing in Heathrow.
That's it. Let's see, where is it? Just before that video. I have to go into my saved mobile photos, and it'll be in there.
Well, while you're doing that, I was just thinking back. Someone had mentioned the Geddy Lee pedal. And I actually did a comparison between the Geddy Lee pedal and the Doug Pinnick pedal.
Right.
Both on the Sansan platform, of course. At the time, I was using a Ricky quite a bit, and the Doug Pinnick pedal actually beat it out for me.
Oh, wow.
So the Doug pedal is currently on my board, and it gets used on everything from country to you name it. Just has that kind of extra mush.
Yeah, they've done very well with those pedals, actually.
Yes.
I don't know if anyone asked specifically for those, but with that, the Steve Harris one, Geddy and Doug, it's they've definitely sort of latched onto something there.
Yeah, well, they're all. The cool thing is they're all on the same platform. It just depends on how you dial it in.
Yeah. And I think also for traveling musicians, trying to take bags and bags of pedals, it's not feasible anymore. So unless you're checking stuff in, a board like that is just such a great, it's like a godsend for traveling players,
Oh, indeed. Mine fits in my suitcase, so I don't even have to carry it separate.
There you go.
I know.
Exactly that. And I know Billy Sheehan says, although when people look at his setup and he's got a laptop and pedals and this and that, he said it actually is so much more cost effective than it used to be. And they can hire in the back line anywhere in the world, but the pedals and stuff is a bit more, because he's using a Helix anyway.
He is. And John Willis, of course, has helped him recreate all of the sounds of the Talus days and the, kind of the early sounds. So he's got it just at a flick of a button and he's good.
That's it. He's a happy chap.
Indeed.
He's a happy chap. Right, I'm just trying to find this picture. Last week I had it. Craziness. And now I can't even remember what I called it. And I'm trying to do a search on my files to try and find it. Anyway, I will track it down because I know what month it was that I did it. So it could be March, just before April. Come on, Explorer, you go a bit. It's a fairly sizable board. It took me by surprise how many things I could actually fit on there. So I had some sort of some pedals were vertical, some were horizontal. And I thought, this is exactly what I need for this show.
Perfect.
And then, like I say, I set it all up last week, took it out to rehearsal on Sunday, and thought, you got too many things on here. Half these started being used.
Believe it or not, I have 5 pedals. That's it.
Oh, okay. I used to be that way.
Yeah.
I was like that for many, many years, and everything changed once I started doing Uncle Funk. It's crazy, really. I'd always had loads of pedals in my collection, but it just got to a point with Uncle Funk being in a disco band. Why wouldn't you want to use filters and octave pedals and all of that? And yeah, and I thought, right, now's the time. You've got all these things there. Time to start using them. And it's been good, but it's funny, when we came out of lockdown, I did the first couple of shows. I had a full pedal train board, and again, it was overkill. I had too many things, too many options, and then I whittled it down to about 5, and that's basically been the board ever since.
Yep.
And but then, so basically, the new show is called Decades of Dance. We're covering dance music from the late 70s through to the current day. Such a huge list of bass tones going through all those decades, and through the early part of the 90s, it was all synth bass. It's all sort of jagged tooth synth lines, and then it comes out like Jamiroquai, and you're playing normal bass. You go into the 2000s, it starts becoming very EDM like, and it's like, God, you've got to cover all of this with the gear you've got. And I know one of the fine gentlemen said last week, why don't you just get a MIDI keyboard and just do it with presets and stuff? And it's like, I don't want to be a keyboard player.
Right.
And it also takes away from the show. Our boss wants it all to be the live band playing it as much as possible. So
that's good.
It is what it is. It is what
it
is. And I have to, in the rehearsals, it sounded amazing. We're like, wow, God, we sound pretty good on this. But it's a very different thing to the disco show.
I'm sure.
Very much. And there is such a wide sort of spread of bass sound, bass tone. First rehearsal, I think I brought like 5 basses along. So I thought, I don't know what's going to sound right and what isn't. And it was just finding what was working best. And funnily enough, for a lot of that stuff, a lot of it was recorded with StingRays. So it was like, well, I'll take a 4 and a 5, take a jazz bass, take a precision and some fancy active number, and we'll see where we go.
Yeah, go with the basics, no pun intended, to start with.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of how I approach session work. What do I need to use on a session? Well, a P bass in Nashville is the king.
Mm-hmm. That's what I want.
I can dial the attitude bass back and get rid of all that growly, snarly thing, and it sits nicely right there. It's perfect.
Excellent stuff.
Basics are always excellent, and then you can embellish from there.
Yeah, it's amazing how that has continued over the decades. You turn up with a jazz or precision, engineer's happy. It's like Andrew from Anaconda says, these are the bass tones we've grown up with through the last 60, 70 years, and people just, that's what they want.
And it's easier for the production.
Yeah, it's quick. It means they get you in, record your part, and you're out again.
Yeah, try taking a Ricky into the studio.
Yeah.
I've done it many times, and I have to explain, close your eyes, let me do this, this, and this, and then you tell me if you can't work with it.
That's it. That's it. I do not know where this photo's gone. I will try and find it, gang. I knew which directory it was in, but I seem to have moved it, which is a shame. But I will find it. But it was a huge, I think we worked out it was something like 14 pedals, and I just got to the point, it was like, nah, it's overkill. It's overkill. I had multiple chorus pedals on it, which, yes, they had their own distinct sounds, but actually once you've got a 9-piece band and track on top, it was like, the uniqueness of tone was sort of swamped by everything else. It was like any chorus pedal would have done the job, you know.
Sure.
One of these days I'll join the chat on time, John Cooper. It's all right. You can always watch them after the event. It's all there. It's all there on the channel. Gareth, have you heard about the new Kemper player and them dulling down the software and you have to pay to upgrade and unlock its potential? I suspect that was always going to be a plan. If there's a way to make money, people will, that's the route they're going to take. It doesn't surprise me.
Just like BMW.
That's it. George Iliad, Gareth, yes. George Iliad is hi there from Broadbeach, Gold Coast. Good to see you, George. Thank you for all the likes and stuff on Instagram, by the way. Very much appreciated. Okay. So, yeah, if you want to join me and Jaymi this evening on the live chat by video, you can. You're more than welcome to come in and join us. We can have up to 8 people here on video at any one time. Just email brooksy'spacecorner@gmail.com. I'll send you an invite. You click on the invite and then you come straight through. That's kind of how it works. So what's coming up for you? What have you got coming up as we approach Christmas?
Oh boy. Starting this month, I've got a couple things this month that are still happening. I've got a kind of a military event that I'm going to be playing with the country guy, Ryan Weaver, coming up on the 19th. And we usually have a great time at those because the military and the active folks are quite participatory, shall we say. And we have a good time. And we, you know, it's the old joke you hear about entertaining the troops, but we actually do.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Well,
and then, of course, I was told earlier today that there is a benefit show that Applehead has been asked to do to come together for a lady who's a single mom who's got terminal stomach cancer.
Oh, okay.
So we agreed to do that gladly. I will always throw our hat in the ring to support someone who's ailing, you know.
Yes.
If it's within my ability, I'm glad to do it.
While we're talking health issues, how are you?
Oh, you know, I'm doing well.
You were very ill. What did you have?
I had the COVID. And it hit me really hardcore. So ironically, I don't know if I ever told you this, the JD with the stripes, the one pickup, was actually part of my motivation to get out of hospital.
Okay.
Because I was in there for 23 days. And, you know, obviously you can't kill a pink bass player. But I mean, you know, yeah. So the cool thing, and I know I mess with you quite a bit about the JDs, but Toby and Mike went the distance for me. And actually, ironically, this bass was first built by John Diggins in '81. And I purchased it from a guy named Dick Jones.
Yeah, I know.
You know, so it started life as a kind of a faded cherry red with a ebony board, and now it's turned into the pink monster. And so when I was in the hospital, I was stuck in isolation for 2 weeks by myself. And so I kind of had ideas. I had no idea of buying a guitar or doing anything of the sort. And that's where this inspiration came from. And then Toby Diggins did the rest.
Yes. T-Dog.
So T-Dog. Yep. T-Dog Customs. He's amazing.
Yeah.
He's amazing. And so they took care of me really well. And he, of course, painted the neon pink one as well. Because if I showed you photos of what it looked like when I got it, you'd either have been laughing or crying. So just saying.
There's nothing wrong with getting a refinish, you know.
Oh, I love a good refinish, especially if it's so well used. I mean, you know, actually, I don't do this much, but let me show you this. You're going to laugh when I do this. This is the original neck from the bright pink one.
Right.
So I had to do this because the previous owner had beaten this thing up so badly. It was unplayable. There's no fingerboard on it, as you can see.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what the motivation was to destroy this thing, but I keep this around for posterity. Because this is what it came with, and it got destroyed. So, yeah, change the whole.
So if I click on and I know where this file is. Funnily enough, that is there. So this was the refin that I had done on my 5-string GB Rumor. So this was built for Lawrence Cottle. So Lawrence went to Bernie and he was saying, I want to use your bases and all of that. So Bernie started making him prototypes of different things he did and could do. And this was one of those bases. So it was made for Lawrence. Lawrence then went, yeah, I don't want that. Went back to Bernie. Bernie sold it at a trade show. So this was it. So I'll let you see it. Come back to there. So we're going to go to there. And then we're going to go to here. So this was this base. Assume you can see that. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Nice enough in its own way. Chocolate brown. But it wasn't, it wasn't tickling the ivories as I was hoping it would. So it ended up going back to Bernie. He got it resprayed after I asked for it to be done in a certain way. That's what we came back with.
Oh, that's nice.
Cherry sunburst, but with a very minor sort of lighter orange and yellow here. There's not a lot more. Personally, I'd have a bit more of that, but it's fine. It is what it is. It's exactly the same base. Just a bit of that. So, pretty good job there.
Yeah, it looks good.
Very nice.
Yeah, I've refinished a lot of things over the years.
While I'm flicking through pictures here, so you and I have never discussed this, I don't think, but so you may or may not know, I used to own Mark King's old StingRay. So here, if I click on this, where are you? Here we go. So I bought this in 1997 from the Base Centre. When Mark put a huge load of his collection up for sale. He was downsizing. So this was that. You being a Mark King fan, of course. Sure, yeah. So that was the bass that was used on Guaranteed, Forever Now, and Trash, most of Trash.
Nice.
It was that 4-string StingRay, and he had the 5. Obviously, he had the red 5. Basically, both basses were ordered on the same day as part of the same order. But this was the one that ended up at the Base Centre. The 5-string went to Jaymi of Robbie Williams's band. And I went down there to hopefully get a Status Empathy, and I ended up with that. I did probably about, I had it for 5 years, and it probably did close to about 800 gigs. So it now resides in France with Morgan.
Oh, yes.
With most of the rest of Mark's old collection.
There's 2 Mark bases that are missing. Nobody can find. And he doesn't.
The blue JD.
And the pink one.
Yeah.
Nobody
probably
knows where the pink one
away to charity or something, and they've just disappeared into the ether.
Pretty much. Yeah. I know there's you may know Marcus Bell. Have you met him?
I know Marcus very well, yeah.
So Marcus had the guys do him a pink Series 1, just like Mark's bass, without the white frosted tuners, because Scheller won't make them anymore.
Right.
That's as close as I've seen so far. Yeah,
and this is the problem with a lot of Mark's old gear. He's given stuff away left, right, and centre over the years for charity and auctions and what have you. And some people get these things and don't even know. They don't get the whole how they're like timestamps of that career. They don't realise what they've got, and then it gets passed from pillar to post. And here we are, nearly 40 years since live at Wembley in the pink one and running in the family. And these things just get sort of passed down and passed along, and unless someone keeps up with the provenance, it's like, well, like you say, that pink one and the blue one, they've gone.
Yeah, they are. They're somewhere in the air.
That's it. So here's a little. So I'm actually putting together a video for YouTube of every bass Mark's ever used. Okay. So the day I went to buy or end up buying that StingRay, I got to play the WAL MIDI bass. There was a couple of alembics there. The Star Child was there. So I went down there hoping to buy a Status Empathy. Could have had the 5-string that was on the live show from Town and Country Club, but they had a 4. And I got in there, and the basses that were for sale were there, and I picked up this Empathy. I was like, whoa, I'm having this. Anyway, until I got these pictures, no one, unless you were at that bass center, had seen this bass. So I'll put it up because I know other people here on the live chat will be interested. Evening, Patrick Sweeney. Good to see you. And the goodness, good to see you too. So this, I need to go into my, no, I know where it is. It's got a folder here full of pictures of Mark and his basses.
I have a few of those.
I picked up this bass. Yeah. I picked up this bass and thought, right, I'm going to go home with this. And as I was playing it, this Irish guy came over and went, oh, that's mine. I went, what do you mean it's yours? He said, I've already put the deposit down. I've already paid for it. It's coming home with me. And I was like, are you sure? And he was like, yeah. I said, I would really like this bass. He said, no, I'm sorry. It's mine. I've paid for it. So it was this. I finally got in touch with him last year after nearly 25 years. And see what you think of this.
Okay.
No one had ever seen it. It never came out. It never came up for playing.
Oh, okay.
So, and again, Joe Goose on here has a headless version of that bass virtually. Same kind of timbre.
That's nice.
Same control set. Yeah, it played amazing. I was like, I really want that. And he's like, no. And he still got it. He's still got it now.
Cool.
So he said to me, why don't you keep the StingRay? I said, StingRay is a StingRay is a StingRay. That's not quite the truth, but there was nothing about it that was Mark King unique. You know, it was just he bought the bass, recorded with it and got rid. Okay, yeah. If I'd kept it to now, I would have got a lot more money than when I sold it on, but it helped to pay for a load of stuff earlier in the career. So, you know, it did its job.
Oh, I know. I mean, StingRay's a StingRay.
Kind of. I mean, the StingRay I've got isn't as good as that one, but that was an 89-90. The one I've got now is 99. Quite different bases. But again, with StingRays, they change components on the boards. There's no consistency there. So you might get a good one or you might get a crap one. You
have to play like 15 of them to find the good one.
That's the deal. That's the deal.
I've had a lot of those over the years, yes.
Yeah. You think, again, it's one of those bases. You go and sit with 10 in the shop. They're all going to be slightly different.
Yeah.
Not going to be consistent across the board. Patrick, good to see you. Goodness, yes, we've done that. Patrick Stream. I know I've said this before, but Jerry lives about half a mile from me. Jerry Meehan does. I thought he lived in LA. Is he back over here now? He relocated back. His brother, Adrian Meehan, is a fine drummer. He's the drummer with Young Gun Silver Fox. If anyone doesn't know who Young Gun Silver Fox is, I suggest you keep your eyes open. An amazing band. Amazing. If you like yacht rock, they're the finest purveyors of it here in the UK. So yes, that video is one of the videos I've currently got sort of that I'm working on. It's exhaustive. I have the list. In fact, I can call that list up. It's huge. It is huge. Up to the last time I updated it. Where's the file?
So I'm assuming you started out with the Heyman and the Gibson and the Pangborns and all that.
Yeah, I can rattle through it very quickly. I just got to find my document. Hold on. It's not there. I do.
Speaking of that, I had a word with Stuart Clayton about the fact that he has a book, that has the Mark King kind of hot playthrough and the notes and the staff and everything. And I asked him, I said, well, I know you have a JD. How come you don't play it? Well, I just don't like it. And I'm like, why have it?
Well, there is that.
Let's go.
There is that.
It's pink.
Yeah. Yeah, Stu's got a lovely collection.
Yeah.
And like those of us who were influenced by Mr. King, he, you know, we all want examples of those things in our collection. But you can't always guarantee to get a belting example. And the thing I always mention here on the live chats is that at one point I had 5 Status 2000 basses back in 2002.
Sure.
They were all totally different from each other, just completely without exception. None of them sounded the same. None of them felt the same. Some were heavier, some were lighter. Okay, it was a graphite wrap over either a wooden core or a foam core, but they just didn't respond the same. And I kept the one, which funnily enough was the one that Stuart sold me, and the other ones had to sort of move on, you know.
That was me with the Spectres. That's me with the Rickenbackers, because I've owned now, I kept a list. I've owned 180 Rickenbackers lifetime.
Woo! That's a lot of bases.
So, you know, I would shift through Rickenbackers like I did trousers. So, I mean, you know, I was looking for something. I've had all the years. I mean, I can put them together and take them apart with my eyes closed. But, you know, certain applications only.
Well, wait a minute. No, that's the video. Oh, I see. Right. Sorry, I'm just trying to search for that list.
Yeah, no worries. Ironically enough, I've had 20 JDs. I have these two sitting here. There was one that was made for Steve Griffith, I believe his name was.
Okay.
And there was a red sunburst fretless with a Jacko kind of headstock.
Yep.
There was one, and then there was a green sunburst that was fretted. They were matching. And the fretless, the way the story goes, the fretless was in a way from in a shop to do something, and it disappeared magically, and I found it like 15 years later.
Wowzers.
And I ended up with it here, and Nick Smith, of course, was very quick to jump on and, oh, you've got that one, look at you, you know. And you know Nick, so I can do that, you know.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, he sold. I saw him a couple of months ago. I picked up. Let's just hope the headphones will reach that far. They should. And this video will be coming up shortly once I've got this one on the workbench and set it up with new strings. Just bought this up. Very nice alembic persuader, but with humbuckers as a custom order instead of the PJ. Very nice. Too bad. I think it's 1990. A couple of little dings, but it plays great. Nice playing a 32-incher for a change.
Oh yeah. Yep. That way you don't have to reach way far out to get the F.
Well, that's it. I don't have to get the bus.
Yeah, right. Take the ferry to go get the F.
That's it. Exactly that. But very nice. Thank you, Nick, for doing me a deal with that. That's very kind of you. And he helped me use the funds to buy a Rickenbacker and then trade me over. As you do, you know.
Yes.
Right, let's just see where that file is. All my files are all over the shop at the moment. So that is in there. Find where my list is. There is a document I've got here. So it's got to be under my old magazine stuff. It was under features. I remember sitting here one evening thinking that would make a great video. Actually, it was originally going to be a feature in the magazine in BGM. Nice. We were going to sit down and have a conversation with him about all the bases and just like rattle through them. And actually he invited us down to do it, and it ended up being that invitation then got moved because he couldn't do the day, and we bought the ferry tickets, and he said, oh no, I'm going to be away that day. No, I'll tell you what, come to my place in London and we'll do it there. And it's like, yeah, but all your gear's down on the Isle of Wight. How are we going to do photos? He said, oh, we'll work that out. Just come around and we'll do the chat. And actually, the interview we did that day was nothing to do with his bass collection. It was to do with all the other stuff, which was a shame because it would have been a good feature. And every time we tried to do it, last time I saw him was at the Jack Bruce thing when they were doing the screening of the tribute concert. And I said, are we going to come and do it? He said, yes, we've got to do that. It's never happened. And now the magazine doesn't exist. So it's not going to happen.
Let's see. So Morgan has number 2.
Yep.
And the Star Child he gave him back.
Yes, he did.
Because I know that one.
I could have bought that. That was $6,000 in 1997. Bargainous. Bargainous at today's prices.
Oh, for sure. Well, I keep seeing these things pop up in various places. There's a guy on this side of the pond who's got one for sale on eBay. And let me just say, it's like shotgun spray painted gold. And it was green, and it was something, and it was something. And the back of the neck is still green. The body is gold. They painted over all the plastic bits. And he wants $3,000 for it.
I think you might be struggling.
I had that conversation already.
Yeah.
We're not going to go there.
No, I think you're going to struggle to get that. Although I haven't said that, they're putting the prices up at last, but they should have done that long ago. Let's see.
Yeah.
Oh, crikey. We've got a load of messages here flying in. Let me catch up with these. Gareth Harrison, Sterling have just released. What's that doing? Get off of there. Sorry, just a message has popped up. Drag that out of the way. Right, thank you. Sterling have just released a passive StingRay. Yes, I've seen those, which I don't see the point of. No, but unfortunately, there's always a market that want active basses as passive versions.
Yeah.
So there will be people that will buy it, and you'll have the Music Man completists who will want one of those. So that will happen. Patrick Sweeney, houses in both countries, I guess. Yes, quite possibly. You've got to spend those tour earnings on something. The goodness, to answer the title question, there's a kid named Bryce Vaughan in the church bass world that is a killer tone I've used as an inspiration over the last year or more. You can find him on YouTube. Cheers, goodness. I will check that out after the live chat. Russell Zorner, good to see you again. Drive-by like from Oregon, USA. Very cool. Good to see you. Welcome back. John Cooper, speaking of Status, I had a lovely chat with Dawn of Status Graphite yesterday. The lovely Dawn. She confirmed the heritage of your bass, a 94 Series 2. Then I got it all wrong, John. I'm sorry. I kept thinking it was an empathy only, but if that was a custom order, then Series 2 is Series 2. And that's the end of that. And its twin is currently on tour with Guy Pratt on the David Gilmour Luck and Strange tour. That will be the weird social media post that Status put up then. Everyone was going, have they started making graphite empathies again? So that answers that question. Thank you for that. Russell Zorner, buy PV bass, get a free Status neck.
Has been done. That would be the PVG bass, yes.
Ah, okay.
It was a single humbucker with a sparkly finish with a Status graphite neck. Yep.
Got it.
I remember them well.
When did they come out?
Early 90s.
Okay.
I think somewhere in that round, because I had a friend who had one. It was the thing he was looking for at the time. It was a kind of a metallic, sparkly green, and it was very transparent, like a Status.
Were they a very limited range? Because I can't say I've ever come across any of them on my travels.
You don't see them very often, and if you do, they shall we say, they command a few quid.
Just a bit. Okay, right. So it's a G bass. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
That's it.
I will keep an eye out for one of them. Patrick Sweeney, I guess we could all play the exact same bass and we'd all have different opinions of it. Correct.
True.
Agreed. Russell Zorner, that's why you need more basses. I keep saying this. You can never have enough. Okay. And then you've put how many basses do you really need? Just one more. Always one more. There's always room for one more. If you could see my room.
Well, I'm leaving part of the room. Part of the room is hiding on this side. So
I'm I'm just delaying the inevitable. It's like, yeah. Patrick, you can never have too many basses. No, quite right. I agree with all that. There are a lot of basses you can emulate if you have a filter-based preamp or a dark glass tone capsule. Well, you see, Roland came out with a thing many years ago, 21 years ago. It was 2003, called the V-Bass, which was meant to solve all these issues and allowed you to basically emulate any bass. And then Line 6 brought out the pod, and that was the end of that. Kind of Roland lost all their thunder then. But you had to fit that Roland pickup to a bass. So basically, find a bass you really liked, put that pickup on, and then basically everything on that unit, that effect unit, was open to you. But I don't think they were that popular. A lot of West End players took them on, because it meant they wouldn't have to take a P, a Jazz, and a StingRay to their theatre shows. But a lot of them got ditched by about the end of the 2000s. People just couldn't be bothered with it. It takes too long to program up. People just don't have the time or the patience.
Surprise, surprise.
Yeah, been down that road. Like when someone first explained the vowel sound. Okay, get it. It's partly the build and partly the preamp. Agreed. In some cases, you can just buy tone. Very true. Patrick Sweeney, I think Nick Smith had one on Mark's JD. Yes, he did. Lord knows we know about it. Not a day goes by where he doesn't mention that. Yes, he did. He had 002, which is the bass from Live at Wembley, the video and DVD. Russell, but my old 70s ebony fretless P bass, okay, with the original split coil in it, has its own sound as well. I bet it does. I guess that's where the model is. There's too many unique instruments and things that are out there that you can't necessarily replicate. So this is where modeling comes in. Ebony, it's just me. Sorry for chat punish. You're all right, Russell. Keep going.
All good.
Don't stop. A lot of the G basses got cannibalized for the necks. There was a good period where they were just being destroyed, but the whole bass was a quarter the cost of a status brand neck. See, this is why my StingRay with a graphite neck is not going anywhere. Suddenly that neck has sort of trebled the price of that bass.
Hens teeth.
Just a bit. And PV basses weren't as broadly desirable then. So they were always, the Dynabass was always a thing. And that T, is it a T40? Yeah, those are always the desirable things. PV was good at that. Not bad basses with wooden necks, with graphite necks were interesting. Yeah. Gareth just sent you a link to a Music Man bongo someone has turned into a headless bass and what $2.5 grand for. You ain't going to get that.
I've seen
You are not going to get $2.5 grand for that.
No. You maybe start thinking Monty Python lines when I see that.
There's lots of people trying to turn headed basses into headless with sort of DIY kits. It's like, don't do that.
And you destroy it.
It might be your ideal bass in terms of comfort and fit, and just get someone to do a custom build. Would be a better idea, I think. The Dynabass preamp confuses people. It has a lot of dip switches in the back. I have a whole series of experiments I need to do on. I have several basses with those preamps in them. Lee Pomeroy, who's the bass player for ELO, Take That, Anderson, Rabin, Wakeman, all of that, and a million other projects, had a Say bass made at Martin Peterson's place back in it's got to be the mid-90s, I think, 96, 97, and it had a Shack preamp that had 32 dip switches. Like, how do you even work out what you want to turn on and off? And where do you start? I mean, crazy. Oh, suddenly mid-gig. Need to increase that to 575. So if I take it, nuts. Lee should know better. He's a StingRay, Jazz, and Rickenbacker man. I don't think he kept that bass for very long, actually. I think that sort of got moved on quite quickly.
Well, the more challenge the more challenge you have as you dive into it, the more switches you have to play with. Then you forget what you set to get that tone that you liked in the midst of all that stuff.
Yeah. That Shack preamp, I know other people had basses made and had them put in. It was overkill. It's overkill. Yes, in theory, you want as much flexibility tonally as you can possibly have, but it's just over the top.
That would be like looking at the old Olympics from Phil Lesh from the Grateful Dead.
Yeah.
With like, 25 knobs on them and switches for everything. And, how do you do that?
Switches for everything and no idea how to get that sound you want.
Right.
Russell, they'll mostly be sold when I'm done. I don't need that many. Good, okay. But people get them and hate the sound and never check the dip switches. Correct. Same with Lakeland. A lot of people don't realize you open up the can I get to it without screws? No, I can't. It's just the battery. So the Lakelands have a 6 or 7 frequency mid basic collection of dip switches. And there are various settings. You go on the Lakeland page and it's there. And you can see basically you can change the mid-range parameters of the EQ on that bass. Very handy, but people don't know it's there. Can be an adventure for sure. Lots of adjustments require patience. Very true. I want to know what's going on in there. It's a lot of stuff inside that preamp. Cool. Meanwhile, the basses went and doubled in price, so it's going to work out. Very good for you, sir. I have a cheap USB O-scope spectrum analyzer, but the whole test setup that is the time consumer. Yeah, I got you. Lord Lakelands are so pretty too. I've never seen an ugly one. No,
I have.
Yeah,
I have.
Too right. They're pretty good. I mean, I've got this 4464 here in the ice blue metallic, which is lovely.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of it's got a sparkle in it. It's like a metallic finish, but very nice. Plays great, sounds great. The only problem is, being a Skyline, their routing machine completely mucked up the routing for the back pickup. I mean, a huge gap either side.
Yeah.
The pickups, the foam in there is useless. That's one of my bugbears. But also those back pickups, they're single coils, very weak. Anyone that's watched the workshop video I did with this had to really raise up the bridge pickup to get it even remotely close to the output.
Only time I've had a Lakeland that really was exciting was a Joe Osborne Lake Placid blue. It was the U.S. made number 38.
Wow.
It was super smooth. Neck was super smooth.
The best 5-string bass I think I've ever played was 5-string made for Pino Palladino that went to the bass center in London for him to collect. And I think in the end, maybe he had a couple made. And I think Alex Carter, who used to work at the bass center, then went to the gallery, either bought one off Pino or like ordered an identical one or something. I remember playing it and it was like, oh my God. And I'm not a 5-string player by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah.
But he was like, this is probably one of the best basses I've ever played. And I was like, no, I agree. The neck was just phenomenal. And kind of set in motion me wanting to get a Lakeland at some point. So, but those American Lakelands in like 97, 98 were proper. Seriously.
Those were all hand done. That's why there was no real CNC. They started the original bunch, I believe, simply by hand in Chicago. And that's one of the ones. So the one I had was one of those. And I mean, you could lay the strings flat on the frets and have just the slightest amount of give, and it would play itself. You could play left hand and your right hand wouldn't even have to touch the strings.
Bill Clements, who comes on here.
Oh yes, I know him.
He's got a lovely Lakeland in some of his demo videos. Exactly that, it's just zooming around. It's just easy. It plays itself.
It does. We did a thing together once.
Okay.
That was for a NAMM show.
He'll be here probably in about 20 minutes. So.
Nice. Yeah, we did a NAMM show thing together some time back. And that was quite the adventure, to say the least.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's a great player, great technique. And he's made it, it doesn't hold him back. He does his thing and it's all good. Russell, I saw Skyline series put against Bacchus lower tier lines, and I kind of want to try Bacchus now. Bacchus basses are really good. I did some reviews of them for Bass Guitar Magazine and Bass Player in 2019. Really good quality for the price. They always look great and demos sound good. It's nice to try instruments not built in the 4 or 5 main countries. They're built in the Philippines, if I remember correctly. Let me just check the ones I did at the gallery. Where's that? Bass reviews. That'll be it. Yeah, so this was 2019. Let's have a look. See where that was made. No, it's made in Japan. So maybe the ones being made wherever it was you said. The ones you said in the Philippines, that maybe they're doing a cheaper range, perhaps. Maybe. Gareth Harrison, Donald Duck Dunn, and Geezer Butler are both Lakeland players. Yeah, they are. Well, Donald Duck Dunn obviously isn't now, unless he's doing it from beyond the grave, of course. But yeah,
always possible.
But, well, you never know. You
True.
can be funky in the afterlife. You see.
That's right.
Russell Zorner, Bacchus Global line. That is okay. Right, got it. Dawson, good to see you all the way from Canada. Roger Glover also produced Sin After Sin by Judas Priest. We were talking Roger Glover last week. Geezer for sure. Yeah, Duck at the end. Yeah. Bacchus Universe made in China and Bacchus Global is in the Philippines. There you go. See? Google is your friend.
Always.
Always. Just see if we got any requests on email. Anyone joining in on the live chat? If you want to join in, Dawson, if you want to come in on video, you're more than welcome. So if you want to join in on the video chat, lovely Jaymi's staying with us for the duration, it seems. So it's cool.
We're doing our best.
Join us. Yeah, that's it. If you want to come join in, feel free. Email Brooksy Space Corner. It's on the ticker at the bottom, brooksyspacecorner@gmail.com. I'll send you an invite. You click on the link, come through to the live chat, and Bob's your uncle. Russell, did you talk about the new Sire GB series yet? No, I haven't been in touch with Andertons yet. Just so you know, Russell, I've had a few things going on in life outside of Baston. So my mother-in-law is very, very unwell, in hospital. Been dealing with all of that, keeping sort of day-to-day things here at Brooks Towers running, getting the dogs walked, looking after the house. We've just had a new boiler, getting gigs done, learning a whole new 44-song set theatre show. So no, the Sire GBs I haven't got round to yet. They will at some point. Next load of reviews and demos going up. There will be Poison Ivy fuzz pedal. So the lovely Paul Flatley sent me this. So we did the bass ace a couple of weeks ago. We've got the fuzz pedal coming up. We've got in fact, tomorrow will be the Wilcock H22 bass. So picture, whet the appetite here. So this will be
an Arrow mint bar.
It will be Wilcock H22. Let me just see the icons so I can show you which one's going up. Go. So this will be going up tomorrow, probably the demo tomorrow. Review will be maybe within the next week, might be sooner. We will see. And then after that will be the Neil Murray Snakebite basses from the Bass Center. So that's the Wilcock H22, single pickup, Novak pickup, Wilcock basses, short scale, fabulous, handmade by the lovely Viv Wilcock here in Hackney in London. Usually people see the Malarkey basses. Well, he does other variations as well. So I had that for a couple of weeks, and it's fabulous. Available. If you want to buy it, once you've seen the demos, it is available. You can either buy it directly through Viv or you can buy it through the Bass Gallery in Camden. It's super. And you'll hear it on the demo tomorrow. So, yeah. Oh, messages. Here we go. Let's have a look here. Right, Russell, there's a 5-string black fretless there that is just dead sexy. We're talking about the Sire GBs, which are based on Stingrays, of course. I saw someone demoing the guitar and checked on a bass and they had one. Oh my, sorry about your mother and the rest. Okay. All else aside, I hope all goes well as it can with mum. Thank you very much. it's a bit touch and go at the moment. I don't want to bring the live chat down, but yeah, so we've got all that going on. So thank you, team, for bearing with me, because the content hasn't been flowing as freely as it should be. So I'm going to try and get exactly, life gets in the way. So there will be more. I've actually got a backlog of stuff that's ready to go, but as I've always said, you have to do the promotion alongside the video, otherwise there's no point putting the video out. So there will be tomorrow, Thursday, Friday, a video each day. Next week there's a whole load of stuff ready to go, so it's coming out. Now, in regarding the sire GBs, I've read some things on forums that the same old sire problem is rearing its head. Bad hardware.
Ugh.
Bad bridges, bad tuners. And people have had these bases arrive and then take them back or send them back, said they're not good enough. The actual quality control hasn't been what they were expecting. That doesn't mean all the sires are going to be like that, but just giving you a heads up. So be prepared. If you've ordered one of those and you're waiting for it, just temper your enthusiasm until it's out the box. It would go right. Gareth Harrison, thinking about getting new Jack Cassidy fretless. Go for it. You know where to get the gig bag this time round.
Those are fun.
Yeah, great bases. Great
Indeed.
bases. They are what they are, but what they do is really good.
True.
And a good price point. Gareth was struggling to find a gig bag that fitted it, and we found
for sure.
the mono. One of the mono ones did it, just as the mono Vertigo is the best one if you've got an alembic point.
Mm-hmm.
It will fit with about half an inch left to spare. Because trying to get gig bags for alembics with crown headstocks and points is a nightmare.
That's like the same gig bag that can be used for the Gibson Grabber.
Exactly along those lines.
Mm-hmm.
The other one is the Continental Blues. What's that one? Sorry. There's another brand and a particular bag. Hang on. Bags. There we go. It is the... I'll find it. Brands. Reunion Blues, thank you. The bag is called the Continental Voyager. That's the other one that will fit things like the Jack Cassidy, the alembics, and they fit nice and snug in there, so you haven't got a bass flapping around in a vast expanse of bag, and it will fit without breaking the seams on the top.
That'd be a JD bag too, then.
Exactly.
For the Series 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm. Exactly that. Russell, I've been in bed a lot. That's most people on this live chat. I haven't kept up with almost anyone. It passes usually, so it's just a little scary because I never know how long I'll be down. Will you take care of yourself, Russell, and get better?
Indeed.
Russell, and the GB series is more like a go down than anything. Okay. Dawson, thank you, Brooksy, for being so consistent. My pleasure. That's what I'm here for. Gareth, new Epiphone grabber has a starting price of $1,000. Well, I guess to buy an old grabber is going to cost you a pretty penny. So, you know, they're tapping into a specific market. It's not surprising.
All the Kiss fans.
The Green Day fans. I think Mike Dirnt's been bringing his grabbers back out on tour. So people are like, oh, we want one of them.
The G3s, yeah.
That's it. But if they're not good quality and they don't justify that price tag, it will soon become a reputation thing. So we will see. So I'm annoyed that a couple of files I was trying to find for you, I just can't locate at the moment. They're here on, I've got like 5 drives connected. I just can't find which directory they're in. Russell, it's not the first time an expired model has been brought back as a signature and also production. Oh, quite right. Stacey, didn't John Taylor play a grabber at one time? Yes, I think he did when he was doing Neurotic Outsiders, as well as Gibson Les Paul basses. Russell, actually, we get the grabber back because Green Day wanted one. Exactly. Gareth Harrison, Mike Dirnt has a signature grabber on the way. Here we go. Yeah, tap into that while they're popular. And then you said grabbers were mostly known. Exactly. They were what they were. I think they've got the pickup on a rail, haven't they? You can kind of,
it's a slider.
Yeah. That's the novelty. That's the novelty.
That's what actually makes it fun. I've had a bunch of them over the years, and actually, I've got one hiding. I'm not going to show you right now because it's in the other room in the storage. But it's one of the first 200 that they made, and it actually has a different neck.
Oh wow!
It has a flat headstock instead of the volute with a curve with a scarf joint. So this one won't twist like most of them do.
Okay.
And it's actually speaking of the man that looks like this. He signed the back of this one, and a long time ago, and I'll pull it out occasionally for a Kiss tribute. So if somebody wants to play Rock and Roll All Night or something silly, I'll pull that out.
That's the deal. That's the deal.
That's it.
Where are we? Right. Let's have a look here. I never imagined the grabber and finishes like Silver Sparkle, though not all of them. It's the weird slug pickups that give it sound too. Plus, they were 100% maple. Yeah. Gareth used to have a West Tone rail which had a similar feature, and Guy Pratt had a bass made by Warwick going back like 10 years. I think he had a star bass with a pickup. In fact, 2 pickups on sliders. But again, it didn't really take off. But Guy wanted tonal differences, and he just wanted to be able to move a pickup as required. So worked for him, I guess. Russell, yes, Steinberger and even Hondo did a sliding pickup model. Very good. Yeah, they took it off the grabber. That was it. That was the template for that.
Pretty much. They experimented for something.
So, anything from the rack that you would like to, that I've got, or that you aren't aware I've got? I don't know what that I do have and what I don't. There's 39 here, so take your pick.
Well, you've already picked the number 1 for me, so.
Well, you picked it yourself.
Well, because how can you miss that headstock in the midst of everything else?
I know. Yeah.
That was John.
So my story with JD was I bought one in 1998. So we used to have a free ads paper here before Gumtree. We had a thing here in the UK called Loot. So you'd scan it every day and it came out every day, and the ads were updated daily. So you'd see secondhand gear, and I bought many a bass out of Loot, that's for sure. Anyway, this guy advertised a JD for £275. So in 1998, they weren't flavor of the month. Mark had disappeared, and it was just as he was coming back with One Man. It was just before that, and there was an article in the Bassist magazine in August 98 on JDs, but their prices were rock bottom. You could pick one up for 400 quid. Anyway, this guy was selling one for 275, red, Series 2. I was like, right, I'm all over that. So I went to his place, and I'm playing it, and I'm thinking, what I'm expecting. Didn't sound right. And I was like, it's not right here, but I can take it to the bass center and they'll fix it. What the guy had done was he'd ripped the JD circuit out, put a little PCB board, done his own little active board, stuck it in. I didn't check it before I bought it. So I just said, there's your 275, and I'm out of there quicker than you can imagine. Get home, take the back off, and it's like, where's the board? Oh, what's that? So in the end, and back then didn't really have the internet. It was there, but I didn't have it at home. Rang JD, couldn't get an answer or a response out of them. Went to the bass center, and Chris, the guy at the bass center, said, look, why don't you put one of these EMG boards in? 3-band EQ, sweepable mids, bomb-proof. I said, well, it's not going to sound quite like the JD EQ, but we'll go with it. And it was fine, but the neck, I spent so much time adjusting the neck. It was an 86. It was an 86, and it must have been around the time where they couldn't keep up with the builds. Everyone wanted a JD. And I heard a thing, I can't remember who I heard it through, that at that time they had certain people that were helping John out that weren't up to the caliber of what he needed. But also the wood was coming in so quick to the workshop and going straight back out in the form of a bass that the wood didn't have time to season properly. So you ended up with all these necks that were twisting and moving. Anyway, I put 4000s on it, and you'd set it up and you'd think, right, got it right. You start playing it, and within 5 minutes it had moved again. And in the end, it just drives you nuts. It's like, I can't be spending more time setting it up than I am actually playing it. And also it had 2 splits in the board. And in the end, I lost my rag with it, and it was like, no, it's got to go. So that went, and I did okay on the resale. I got £1,000 for it, and I put that towards. It was 2002. You know, they still weren't high profile. King bases were all the rage, and the money for that went towards.
Oh yes, that little fellow.
That one.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, all's well that ends well.
There you go. I had one that had a dodgy neck. So part of that story, also to add to what you said, there was a series of truss rods between 86 and 87 that were not quite up to spec, and so they wouldn't actually hold the neck in place.
Right.
I mean, you know, if you look at
that could well have been what was going on with this.
Probably so, because if you look back at all the videos of Mark playing number 3, the truss rod cover was gone, because every time he went somewhere, he'd have to do this or do this, you know.
Yeah.
And so when you get kind of used to that thing, you just, okay, zip, 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 you're done. But not everybody wants to do that.
No.
And, you know.
As I said on last week's live chat, a couple of my bases, we're in that period now of the year where we get seasonal change, and I can sit in here and for the next 6 to 10 weeks, you can have complete quiet and you'll suddenly hear something go ping, 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 because there's 39 bases here.
Right.
They're all moving because of the temperature change and the air pressure change and the humidity change. And I took 2 GBs on a gig 2 weeks ago, and one of them had just moved. All it needs is a quarter turn loosening off. We're at that time of year where you loosen off, and then when we get back into spring towards summer, quarter-inch turn to tighten up, and that's all it is. But a lot of people just so scared of that. It's like, whoa, I don't know what I'm doing. Just a quarter turn is all you need. If it's a good base, it's been made properly, set up properly. Just maintain that truss rod. It's there for adjustment. That's what it is. It's when you get people and they're going,
oh, right,
to tighten it or slacken it, it's like, that's not going to end well.
You know, the irony is my attitude base has never moved.
Mine neither.
I've taken it to Alaska, of all places.
14 years, hasn't moved.
Yeah, I've taken this thing to Alaska, flying across the country up to the islands secretly in the north, and it didn't move a millimeter.
There you go. That's why I love, like, I've taken that empathy all around the world with me. I've been in 49-degree heat in Israel when I was there for a month in 2016. That neck has never moved in 22 years. I can set it up. Occasionally, I might just tweak it so it's a little higher or a little lower. But the neck doesn't. That was joy of graphite, isn't it?
Yeah, it doesn't move. It's just a little different feeling. That's all.
That's it. Love it.
Yeah.
Russell, is Psi hardware even somewhat interchangeable with anyone else's? Yeah, I think it follows standard sort of Fender screw points, I think. I don't think they use anything that's particularly esoteric. So you should be able to put a hip shot or any sort of direct Fender replacement should be fine. Gareth Harrison, have you got any semi-hollow basses? Yes, sir. I've got 3. Where do you want to go with this conversation? So I have 2 Washburns. I have an AB40, which there's a demo of. Let me call that up for you if you want to check it out.
I remember those.
Yeah, Lee Sklar's got one of them as well.
He does.
He's a big fan of it. And I used it literally 95% of all the acoustic shows I've ever had to do. It's just lovely. And this was I bought off a guy again through Loot. It was his wedding present from his wife. And in 9 years, he'd never played it. So he put it on Loot and I bought it. So anyone that wants to see that, here's the link for that. So I've got the AB40. I've then got an AB10, which is the backup for that. I've also got an Ibanez. Got to get the number right on this. It's the S. I'll scroll through it. Where is it? There it is. the SRH 500 DEF bass workshop semi-acoustic. It's a hell of
Say
a,
that
they
quickly.
they like a catalog number at
Sounds like
Ibanez.
it.
So that bass is again a demo that's here. Great sound, really easy to play. So if you want to check those out, feel free. There will be reviews of both of those basses eventually. I will get round to it shortly. Now let's have a look. Where were we there? Semi-hollow basses. So yes, if you want to talk about those, Gareth, feel free. You say I do not, but I've had hollows. Very good. Russell, G&L sell all their bass parts online for relatively competitive prices. G&L basses are great. Russell Zorn, if you could upgrade a regular sire bass with, say, the side locker bass bridges from G&L, how would it be? Well, you're going to get more sustain. You'll probably get a clearer tone. You'll probably find there's a bit more presence, a bit more liveliness about it. That's generally what an improved bridge is going to do. It'll feel more solid, but ideally you want a bridge to give you a significant improvement in sustain, if anything, because basically it's transferring the vibration of the string through the guitar body. And then obviously that gets picked up by the pickups, and that's what you hear. Russell Zorner, I need more semi-hollow everything. Okay. Be careful what you wish for. It's
That's right.
You won't be saying that as you get older. It's really an eye-opener if you've never had a semi-hollow bass or guitar. Correct. They respond differently. Or a truss rod not been removed for decades, and you have to take a leap of faith that you're not jamming up, instead releasing it. Correct.
All in how you turn it.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Always loosen before you tighten. Just remember that.
Unless it's a Rickenbacker.
Or certain status graphite replacement necks, which again work in the opposite way to everything else. So there's me tightening up this StingRay, thinking, I'm not seeing any movement. No, you're slackening it off. You're going the wrong way. Some Ibanezes also go in the opposite direction. Let's have a look here. So that's that. Russell, nice. That actually on my list or similar. I've always wondered about the gill or slash sound hole. It's just different to having a standard circular sound hole. I like the look of it. I've always liked that look on Washburn guitars and basses. Great bass. The AB40 sounds great, plays great. The AB10s, AB20s come later, and they're made not quite to the standards that they used to be. Still good basses though. Russell Zorner, fretless version of your Ibanez on my list to try for a while now. There's one at the gallery in Camden. They've got one at the moment for 600 quid. Gareth Harrison, I put the Fender bass. Gareth, you got a spelling mistake there. Fender bass ass clone. I didn't mean badass clone bridge on my P bass. Very good. I put the Fender back. There we go. Badass clone on my bass.
You got there. There you go.
We got there eventually. You got there eventually. Yeah. So yeah, I'll dig some gems out here. Hold on.
There are some really nice bridges out there, and actually, the actual badass bridge has been re-released.
Yes,
which is good news, because the Badass 2 is on everything.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Right, let's. So you're a GB man, of course. So I'm sure you've seen this across various bits and bobs before. So it featured in lots of pictures and videos on the channel, of course. So GB Spitfire, so Bernie's version of a Jazz, but with all the GB gubbins, of course. So it's nothing like a Jazz, really. These aren't single coils; they're humbuckers. 3-band EQ, parallel series switch. On the back, it's got a very nice little thing that he made, which is the G spot. I'm sure Nick Smith has had hours of fun explaining that to you.
You know he has.
Of course. So basically, that gives you a G pitch tone that you can then tune your G string to. Everyone's G string needs tuning, of course, and then you can do the rest of the strings. Very novel, very Bernie. Exactly. Lovely bass, lovely to play.
Do you know a guy called Rob Flack?
Yes, he's got the Great Britain flag version.
That's what I was thinking. Flacky's bass with all the LEDs that do all the dancing.
White. Well, yeah. That's not going to do it because it's not plugged in. Or is it? No. The sound to light only works when you're plugged in. And I'm not plugged in, so I ain't going to do it.
Yeah, because that bass was a smasher. Every time I saw it, I'm like, Flacky, you're going to send it to me in your will, right?
I think he's still got it. I think
he does, but he doesn't come out with it much anymore. He's too
No.
busy casting a line out to catch a fish.
I sold him an EBS HD 350 amp. We both knew of each other. We just never met. And yeah, he was trying to get back into playing, but he just said, "Oh, just life's so busy." Rob, if you're out there, good to see you. Hope you're well.
Indeed. Hope so.
Yeah. I saw him. He actually liked a couple of posts I did a while back. So here, Matrix, one of the original 1990 Fez. Mr. King, one of Mr. King's best bass tones, to my point of view, my opinion.
Sure.
Very nice.
Yes. I'm trying to remember the last status. The last status I had was one of those little streamlines.
One of these
little five-string streamline.
I've seen your video.
Yes, yeah. I'm sure you have.
It probably helped me buy this, I think.
Probably so.
Because this I don't see them. So do you know Barry Cree, who used to work at Bass Gear in Twyford? He used to be at the bass shows.
His name sounds familiar.
Right. So he bought this from the original owner who spec'd it. So it's a 32-incher with a bendwell.
Okay.
Satin neck.
Interesting.
Not a gloss neck. The guy spec'd the LEDs, but he didn't want them very bright. He wanted them subdued. It was like, oh, great, okay. But anyway, wraparounds, custom spec. It's like almost playing a banjo. It's that sort of diminutive, but it is what it is, you know. Lovely status tone, very handy to travel with, which is why I bought it from Barry.
Yes.
And then they basically banned you from taking any instrument in a cabin on a plane.
So, I'll see. We can do that still. On this side of the pond, there's a law.
British Airways go nuts if you try and take something like this on a plane.
We have a law in effect that says that as a standard tool of the workforce, an instrument must be allowed on the plane, and if there's not the ability for accommodations in the overhead compartment, if the flight attendants can put it in a closet, that's great. Otherwise, they will have to gate check it.
That's the way it used to be. That's how it always used to be. And apparently Ed Sheeran had a run-in with British Airways over a guitar. And I remember going through Heathrow about 6 weeks afterwards. And they saw that, even though it was on my back, they went, "You are not bringing that on the plane. It has to be checked in." So we had to go down to oversize and put it all in cardboard boxes, and that and the guitarist's guitar, and we had to do it that way. We got back and the instruments got back, but it was just a bit stressful.
That's where that company Inky makes cases.
Yeah, correct.
Those bass vaults. Yeah. I've been curious, but I don't want to spend $500 for a vault. You know.
No, I've got an SKB bass safe, and I remember, I think it was Joe Hubbard or Jeff Berlin, or maybe it was Stuart Ham, complaining that they bought a bass safe and it had all gone wrong and it all got crushed and mangled. All of these cases can be crushed and mangled. There's never ever something that can't be destroyed.
Right.
But it's just all you're doing is eliminating the likelihood that it will.
Yes. So
that's kind of now why I take things like a cheap Ibanez if I'm going abroad. I'm just not going to take expensive gear. There's just no point.
Yeah. Or buy a seat.
That's it. Well, sometimes you can, like with Uncle Funk, we factor that in because we've got two horn players. They insist on a seat for them. Guitarist now says, "I want a seat for my guitar." So next time they say, "Well, I'll have a seat for my bass then." Excellent.
Right.
Although I have to say, when we went abroad last year, I had a bass provided and it was perfectly all right. And it's one less piece of gear you got to worry about, isn't it? So
that's a fact.
Russell's on. At least 3 of my Samick bases come with branded badass bridges on them. Very good. They were prevalent before Hipshot got big, mate. I've got badasses on a couple of bases here, mainly Fenders. So the Marcus Miller had a badass. The Mike Dirt had a badass as well. Remember when everyone used to hate on Wilkinson hardware? I do, and yet the precision I use for the Queen tributes has got. I put a Wilkinson bridge on, brass bridge. Works great. I think you just have to be a bit selective in what you use and what you pick. So there's a Wilkinson brass bridge on there instead of the Schaller 3D bridge, because you can't necessarily buy them. They're second-hand things. They don't produce them anymore. But that's a fair approximation of a Deacon base.
The roller bridges were quite nice, actually. The Schaller.
Yeah, they were. It's a shame they stopped doing them. But again, sometimes you see it on an old second-hand base, and easy to take off and put on what you want and put something else on the one you're not going to use.
Yep.
Now it's used on top tier and some boutique instruments. Some Wilkinson stuff is. Gareth, the latest iteration is the Badass 3. Badass 3's been around for years, but they kind of come and go, where they produce them and then you can't get them. A bit like Bartolini stuff, they go out of availability. Saddle grooves, that's it. Yeah. My main problem right now is I have way too many 6-string basses. Well, we all have our cross to bear, you know. And, if you've gone down that 6-string route, then fair play to you. That's a stunning instrument. I need to sell like 10 so I can buy the one. I've lost track. Which bass are we talking about? You're talking about the streamer, I guess.
Status,
yeah.
Status,
Jerry Blair, good to see you. Welcome to Jaymi. Jaymi, meet Jerry.
Hello, Jerry.
Jerry is one of my apostles, so I hand out little nuggets of advice and help, and he sort of laps them up and then uses them when he's playing bass, and it seems to work. So good to see you, Mr. Blair. Hope you're well.
Lovely.
Russell, I have a Gator bag that holds 2 instruments. Okay, I've got one here too. If they will fit into the guitar-sized bag, that one you just showed would, then it would fit on your lap well enough. Yeah, the problem we've got is the airlines over here in the UK won't allow you to take instruments into the cabin at all. Now, if they've loosened that would be good, but I don't think they have. And last time I flew was last year. They certainly hadn't relinquished that then, so we're stuck with it here in the UK. John Cooper, can anyone recommend a decent gig bag for a headless status 5-string? Yep. The fitted Hiscox case is great, but sometimes not that practical. You can just buy a standard strap bag or a Fender, like a guitar bag. So if you want to go with Gator or Mono or any of the more expensive companies, you can. I've very often traveled with my Series 2000 in a Fender strap bag. So, and that will fit, and that's going to be the same as your Empathy. So you can just fit it in a strap bag, easy enough. It's not a problem. I've never had a problem, so you shouldn't either. The only thing is you want one with decent padding, which is why I'm saying look at one of the more sort of high-end bags. Mono, Continental Blues. Oh, sorry, Reunion Blues is the company. Gator, you know, just get a good bag for that. Jerry Blair, yeah, I'm well. How's everyone in the bass community? I think everyone's okay. Russell Zorner, the cats have been unable to destroy my Gator dual gig bag. That's a bonus. They gave up. No lie. The padding is dense and infinitely configurable. Good. That's what you want. Not definitely. That's okay. Dawson, what was the longest gig you've played? What did you learn from that? Right. I'll go that one very easily. So the longest set I ever did without a break was 2 hours and 30 minutes, and we were gasping for water again. Longest gig 5 without stopping. Without stopping. Oh man, I can't even get close to that. Longest
it just happens.
Longest gig I've ever done would have been, I think there might have been a wedding where we did like 3 hours and 20 minutes, my old covers band. And that was like a war of attrition. We were starting to run out of songs. It was like, what we've got left isn't suitable. I think that's probably it. But then I've had gig days where I've had 3 gigs in a day. So, you know, that's a long old day. So, because one of the bands I used to play in, we used to play a lot of those pubs, the Irish pubs. So you do 1 gig at like 11:30. You do another one at 2, another one at 5, another one at 8 or 9. So I've done like 4 gigs in a day. Those were the days. That helped to pay the mortgage, you know.
Oh, yes.
But yeah, that's enough. What did I learn from it? Don't take so many gigs in a day. Be grateful that you're not the lead singer. I think that's probably good. But if you're in a band and you're going to do that amount of work in a day, or 1 gig that's long, spread the workload. If you can sing a bit, then, you know, offer your services. Spread that vocal workload around everyone in the band. Gareth Howson, I have a reunion blues double bag. Very nice. Russell Zorner, the longest gig is this stream. No, the longest gig was the longest stream even. I'll tell you which one it was. It was last year, and we did 5 hours. I think it was 5 hours and 17 minutes. Let me just check. I'll know it when I see it in the list. It was a long one. It was... Oh my. Yeah, it was before that. 5 hours, 19 minutes and 3 seconds on the 28th of March, 2023. And the week before that was 5 hours and 16 minutes. So YouTube, you got plenty of advertising opportunities in those videos. I hope you made the most of them. Just a bit. It was 1:20 when I crawled into bed that night.
Nice.
Dawson, stamina is key. Quite right. And drinking lots of water helps as well. So if anyone wants to join in on the live chat, you can. There's a ticker running at the bottom of the screen. Email brooksysbasecorner@gmail.com. I'll send you an invite. You click on the invite, you can come straight through to the live chat here with me and Jaymi. Mr. Pink Beard Man.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep. Pink beard, pink bass, have bass wheel trim.
That's it. Pink pants?
Well, now, British pants or American pants?
British. American pants are just trousers. Strides.
That's why I asked it.
That's it. Yeah.
I made the mistake one time of saying something about somebody not wearing pants, and everybody cracked up before I realized what it was.
Quite right.
So,
quite right.
Then of course I had a correction from our friend Nick Smith.
Of course. Well, he will tell you.
He did. He gave me it this though. He gave it to me like this. Now, really, son, you know, if you can't wear pants, we can't talk about it. That's what I got. So you know.
As long as he doesn't have to readjust. Yeah, you'll see on the ticker, big thank you to all the new subscribers. Welcome along. Thank you for coming on board. We've had a couple of subscriber surges past couple of weeks, so thank you very much. I really appreciate it. And thank you for all the comments, all the shares, all the likes, people getting involved on the social media. Gareth Harrison, that includes you, the messages on the Facebook page, so thank you. It all helps. Everything's in green. All the arrows are going up. So thank you, gang. It is very much appreciated. I can't do it without you. Otherwise, it's just me pumping out a load of videos and no one sort of responding to it. It's a two-way street. So thank you. Now let's see.
That's why one big bass family.
That's it. That's what we do here. This is live chat 83. 83. So thank you to all the regulars who turn up here week after week. I can't do it without you, really. It's just me gassing. So thank you. Right. Let's have a look here. Bass collection. Where are we? There we are. It's on there, isn't it?
You saw the photo of the Three Musketeers I posted, right?
Yeah.
Those are all sitting over here.
There you go. It's nice having nice gear.
You know what's crazy is they're all made within 3 months of each other, and every last one of them is different. Kind of what you were saying before.
Yeah.
One has a neck that's straight, flat, dead flat. One has quiet pickups, and the other one just tells me to toss off 6 different ways. So I can't get the neck to straighten out. It won't flatten.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a twister.
Yeah. So there's sometimes you do get a bass, just sounds great, plays great, but it has a temperamental neck. So you have to kind of make that decision. Are you going to keep it or are you going to move it on? You know. So I'm just
indeed.
Here. So
I see our friend Bill has just joined us. Bill Clemens is on the chat.
Got Jaymi Millard here, Bill. Welcome. Yeah, there you go. So you got all the best people on this week. Jeffrey Boyle, good to see you. Welcome. Russell, to be fair, I cheat on bass with other all right, you can do that. Gareth Harrison, you want a Wednesday bass.
A Wednesday bass? If you're speaking about Wednesday as in the Addams family, then I think it would be one of these.
Ah, there you are. Yeah. Black is the color.
You can't, what are you saying? Spinal Tap, you can't get more black.
No, there's none more black. Well, Music Man did that stealth bass that was, everything was black.
Right.
Everything, even down to the screws. Here we go. Monday's bass is made by someone hungover and Friday's bass is rushed. Yeah, quite.
Sounds like working in the car industry.
That's it. Russell, technically French horn is in my primary slot, but they're a different sort of price list. If you find someone collecting French horns, they're stupid rich. Alembic owners fall into that bracket, I think you'll find.
Yes, although, they do.
Yeah, I couldn't say I was rich, but I'm very lucky to have 3 of them. Thank you. Not bought at brand new prices, I might add.
Brand new Series 1. Brand new Series 1 or 2 is 43,000.
Well, we've been discussing that on Facebook, of course. And yeah, I mean, people who are going to buy a brand new Alembic, well, you see, that's the advertised price. That's before you take in distributor discounts. You know how all that works. So you see that price, you're probably going to get 15 grand off that price once they start bringing in, well, we can do this. And Marcus Bell was a perfect example where he wanted a complete copy of Mark's Maple Series 2 Alembic, had it all done, and then couldn't afford to go through with the final purchase. So Bass Direct paid for it and then sold it on. But because he had ordered it through Bass Direct, he was able to get that price down like 15 grand, I think, 14, 15 grand.
Mm-hmm.
I think. Yeah, Series 2 for 15 grand now. Going to be lucky. I think second hand at the moment for something that isn't what, you know, someone's done a custom order and it's not sort of what you would associate to be an Alembic Series 2.
Right.
So slightly odd looks, different shaped body. They're 11, 12 grand. So the days of walking into the Bass Center and picking one up for 2,800 have gone. That's not going to come back.
There's a guy here. Have you seen Brian Barrett at the low end has the Exploiter, which is the Explorer looking bass that's pink and blue? Have you seen the pink and blue one?
That's bordering on your area there.
If I was going to drop 4,500 quid, maybe, but no, not now. Not right now.
That doesn't scare me. That doesn't scare me. It's when you're looking at 7+.
Right.
But I can see now, well, since we came out of COVID, so what happened going into COVID was Alembic prices have been static for about 10 years or so. Mm-hmm. And my 20th anniversary and my marketing signature weren't that expensive second hand. They were sizable, but they weren't that expensive. We go into COVID, people started getting their furlough payments and money to sit at home, and they were starting to think, well, I might not live. Who knows how long they're going to live? I want to buy things that I want. And all of a sudden, you started seeing the Alembic prices going up. Went from 3.5 to 4, 4.5 to 5, 5.5 to 6. So these two examples I have started to appear as secondhand bases as people sold stuff, and they were looking at 6 grand a piece. And I'm like, really? If that's and they sold. It wasn't like they put them on eBay and hoped for the best. These were actually selling through bass retailers here in the UK.
Yep.
Suddenly I'm seeing 2 examples in my collection have more than doubled in price.
Kind of like the wall bases.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. Yeah. Although it took to get to COVID for that to happen, whereas Wowls had just jumped as soon as Justin Chancellor appeared.
I've had 6 of those over the time. Those are
6 wells.
6 wells, yeah. I've had them. The best one I had was the first one I paid $800 for, and it was a 84 Wingate.
But between 99 and probably 2002, which was around the time Chancellor appeared, you could pick up wells for 600 quid.
Yeah.
I could have bought a Mark II 5-string Immaculate for 950, and I quibbled about 50 quid.
Yeah.
So I was going to have it defretted, turned into a fretless. And I just didn't get on with the neck, and I just went, I'm going to let it go. And about a year later, I thought, you bloody idiot. You should have just bought it. Should have just bought it.
I sold them off when they were just starting to climb. When they were just starting to go up in price, I sold them all off. And, I paid $800 for one, got $1,600 back. And
you think at the time, great, doubled my money.
Oh, yeah, I did well, but now there's a guy over here selling one. He wants $11,000 for it.
A friend of mine, Gary, had a Geddy Lee black and gold replica. Sold it at the gallery for about 11 grand.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? And as he said, it's not like I'm going to take it and play it. To be honest, it's more of a collector's piece. So it can sit there and it might go up a bit more, but 11 grand is fairly sizable. And I think he probably paid 2, maybe. Quite a while back, probably like 15, 16 years ago. So, yeah. Okay, let's go through these. Yeah. Dawson is asking you, do you know anyone who has tinnitus? Yeah, me. How did they manage it? I heard in-ears are key. You answer that, help. And then I'll respond after you've responded.
In-ears definitely help, because the reason why people a lot of times have trouble, if you think about it, and I can cite some examples from past experiences, when you're standing in front of a pair of 8x10s and you've got it just ripping, you've got all that pressure, all that low end, everything hitting your ears, and it causes the crystals in your ears to seize. They freeze up, and your hearing then shifts. And a lot of tinnitus I've seen with people that I've spoken with have to do with those crystals kind of locking up or freezing up. And they don't let tones through, or they let tones through, or you get a whistle, or you have some other little kind of like white noise going on in your ear at the same time. And there's people who've said there's cures for it. I honestly haven't seen anything on a major side of people being able to kind of come out from under it. Although there are some, I would say there's some holistic things that people are trying that seem to work a little bit. But I'd have to look them up for you to tell you exactly what they are, or I'd have to reach out and ask questions again, because discussions come and go, and I don't play anything really loud these days, and I use in-ears for just about everything. So because of that, I can control the volume, and the stage around me could be absolutely pounding. I mean, because you get on a live show, especially on a big stage, and you've got the drums are just you're feeling your chest just pounding. The in-ears will help you control that, as far as what's going into your ears. The rest of the sound wave and the stuff hitting you is one thing, but at least in my mind, I don't know which one of us is older, you or I, but I mean, I've been running around for a while.
I know you're more handsome.
No, I just got less hair. I've got less hair, but there's an awful lot of live show that you can save your hearing by simply either using in-ears, or if you have so you were speaking earlier, just sidebar about in-ears. I have molded ones for my ears, and I use them. They have 4 drivers in them, and I keep them relatively quiet. But most of those in-ear companies also make an in-ear insert that is just literally a 33 dB drop filter. So you still have your ears covered.
And they have an adjustable thing where you can change. Yeah.
Yeah. And I recommend those for anybody who's concerned about tinnitus or concerned about hearing loss at this point. Because even if you talk with Billy, for example, Billy Sheehan, he wears in-ears every gig. But for all those years that in-ears were not a thing, you find that your hearing shifts, and you want to keep what you've got for various reasons, obviously.
That's right. I was okay because I always wore earplugs up until 2011, and I suddenly went through a phase of doing a lot of deafing because my regular bandmates were away on tour. And the problem with being a deaf is it's fine when you're playing with your regular band because you're used to all the changes. You kind of have a standard set list, and that's what you're going to play, and you know what you're going to hear. And once you're deafing, you got earplugs in, you can't hear them.
Right.
Suddenly, it's like I need to hit. If they're giving me cues, I've got to hear it. So I started not wearing the earplugs for probably about 6 months, and some of the bands I was playing with were so loud that I got tinnitus that started from that point.
Yeah,
and it was just part and parcel of being in that situation. Had I not been depping and I was playing with my regular band, earplugs would have stayed in, and I probably wouldn't have the tinnitus I've got now.
Yeah.
But then the other thing is using IEMs. In theory, yes, it should cut down the amount of tinnitus you get, if any. But then there's also the flip side of that, which is if you're in a band and the audience noise is so loud, like if you were in a boy band or what have you, you end up having to have the IEMs so loud to counteract the noise that's in the room. You can end up blasting your ears because the IEMs are overpowering.
Right.
So so whenever someone says, "Oh well, IEMs will stop you from getting that," that's not actually the case.
That's
because
true.
If you think like for example, Duran Duran in their heyday, the sound in the arenas was so loud they couldn't hear a note they were playing. Well, if you'd had in ears, you still wouldn't have done, because you would have needed those volumes to be so loud over the atmospheric noise that you'd have been in the same boat.
I have a friend when he plays live. Something Russell said in the chat. I have a friend who wears kind of Paul Gilbert style headphones, and they're noise canceling, so you're literally enclosed. And he does it on every show,
Yeah.
And I mean that's one way to go about it, for sure.
The joy of wireless headphone Bluetooth sets.
Absolutely.
Noise cancelling. It's like, great. Just hope your show isn't so long that the battery runs out.
Right. Well, there's that. But
a rude awakening. Yeah. Russell, Alembic is surreal, like Lamborghinis. People pay 50 grand for a smash one. I wouldn't. But I have to say, the ones I've got, I'm very lucky to have, and I love having them. So that's all well and good at Brooksy's manor. Jake Calburn, good morning, Brooksy. Everyone heading to work in Tasmania, Australia. Thank you very much. Hope you're well. Good to see you. Welcome.
Yes,
Russell Sauna, I hear someone using mechanical keyboard, but it's not loud enough to be a Northgate Omni key. Probably an ancient IBM or modern gaming keyboard with cherry switches. Well spotted, sir. There you go.
Right here.
And on his keyboard. Russell Zorna, so do they play 40k worth? Well, no. But you have to remember, you can use the car analogy. It's perfect, because that's exactly, Alembics fall into that level of, there is a market that would pay what a brand new price is. Personally, I wouldn't buy a brand new Alembic, because as soon as you take it out of the factory, you've lost half the price. Same as a car. It's no different. But I'm very happy buying second-hand Alembics, because the market is fruitful, and again, you don't see many of them. So, when one comes, that's how I acquired both of mine. A guy that I think the first one, 20th anniversary, I acquired, the guy was a lawyer who would go to, he'd acquire very expensive bass guitars, prance about in front of his mirror. I was told he can play a bit, but he can't really play. So every time he was putting in an Alembic or a very expensive bass, I was more than happy to sort of take advantage of him selling. So I didn't know him. It just I bought them through the gallery in Camden. So that one happened that way. The Mark King signature was a guy, I don't know why he was selling, but he basically put 10 very exotic instruments up for sale at the gallery at the same time. Could have been a tax bill, could have been a credit card bill. It was just after Christmas.
So
yeah, maybe. And that was there. I played it. It sounded nothing like the 20th anniversary one, so I bought it. That's it. The other one off Nick Smith was a recent purchase. I wanted a persuader or a spoiler. It looked in really good. It looked like it was in good nick. I know Nick wouldn't have bought a dub, and everything worked on it. And I was like, yeah, I want that. So that was that. Russell, I mean, I hear people have been changed by playing a legit Stradivarius. Well, playing an alembic is nothing sounds like an alembic. And you think in theory, well, you know, most basses can do an approximation. You can't sound like an alembic without that circuit. And actually, any alembic bass, even the cheaper, lower end ones, they have their own unique tone and character. You know, you can't make a JB sound like an alembic. You can't make a Status sound like an alembic. All these basses have their individual character, so you can't buy a bass to sound like something else. It's going to sound like what it is. So if you want all those different sounds, you can either go down the modeling route, or you end up buying the individual instruments, which is the route I took.
And that's more fun anyway.
Yeah, and it's good for the channel. You know, I've got instant material. You know,
content
is king, baby. Content is king. Dawson, much appreciated. Just have minor tinnitus in my right ear. We'll try and stay out of noisy environments and keep some earplugs with you. Once you've got tinnitus, you can't get rid of it necessarily, but you can refrain from getting more, restrict yourself from encountering more. If you find somewhere is loud and you're shouting to talk to someone, put your earplugs in, and funnily enough, you will somehow hear yourself better. Yeah, Russell, open back headphones help me at the desk. If they become too quiet, I get a pressure headache. If you've been in a real anechoic, I presume I said that right, chamber, it's not comfortable for anyone, much less tinnitus sufferers.
No,
okay, Gareth Harrison, having cymbals crash next to your ears is another cause. Correct.
Definitely.
Bill Clements on bass, ruptured right eardrum here. Goodness, Bill, you are in the wars, sir. But your playing is great, so something's working in your favor. Russell, I can hear the sound leveling kick in on my cheapo headphones. Okay. We've got some more here. Russell, I don't get a spike, but I know what's going to happen if it fails. I end up wearing the range protectors like Paul Gilbert. I look dumb. AF. Well, yeah, I can't say the F word. But they work for me. I can hear, but it clips all the spikes really nice and attenuates the rest enough. That's it. Yeah, protect your hearing at all costs. It's got to last you a lifetime.
Yep.
Russell, earplugs have always given me a headache if they work. Okay. Bass clef connoisseur, welcome. You're new here. Not seen you before. But you're very welcome. Good to see you. I see you know some of the people here. Welcome. Where are you based, bass clef connoisseur? Are you UK, Europe, America? Maybe somewhere else a little more exotic. John Cooper, do you find IEMs can take you away from the audience? Nope. Simply because you can't hear them? Nope. Especially if you use noise cancelling IEMs? No. A lot of these things are urban myths.
Yes.
And the whole vibrating platform thing, I get it. I understand it. If you're a bass player such as Dave Swift and you stand in one position all night and you are not moving, it's a reasonable idea. When I started using IEMs all the time, everyone kept saying, oh, well, you got to get a board. You got to get a board. And it was like, I don't.
No.
And as time has gone by, the sound I get on these 45-pound ZS10s from Amazon, I'm more than happy with. If I break them, lose them, or have them stolen, it's 45 quid. If I had 700-pound molds, top of the range, if you broke one, you're going to be a little bit upset. And you've also got to wait to get another one. I've got 3 sets of these. One that are the regular go-tos. I have another set in my bag, and I have a set here at home. So if I was at a gig, lost my bag, and that set got broken or knackered, I've still got another set for 45 quid. They do really well. So
they do. So John,
saying,
also, go ahead, man. I'll say, John, also your comment about pointing a microphone at the audience, that is consistent for a lot of people, because if the place is small enough or is decent size, smaller size, medium size, you will tune out the audience. You won't hear them in your IEMs. So a lot of times when they put a microphone up, it could be a PCM or something else, that they just to get the ambient sounds of the room happening, you can dial that in and out so you don't really lose the audience. I mean, now, mind you, you could have someone standing in front of you in the front row basically telling you things or shouting things at you and whatnot. You won't hear them. You just kind of have to read lips or shake your head. But if they're, it's, you don't lose, the bottom line is you don't lose the whole idea of what you're hearing, because you'll get a little bit of the room sound, and that's just to give you that live feel. So you don't need a board to stand on, or the backbeat thing that's on your strap that's vibrating your back while you're playing. You don't necessarily need it because you won't lose that.
I
so
think
just
also,
to kind of,
in my experience, like with Uncle Funk, I'm playing with a 9-piece band. We've got a lot of stuff going on, a lot of frequencies being covered, lots of instrumentation. We've got male vocals, female vocals, 2 male backing vocals. There's a lot going on. Sometimes I think people that are playing in 3, 4, 5-piece bands where they maybe don't have such a frequency coverage, the whole audience thing suddenly becomes more important or relevant. Whereas for me, I'm just listening to what the rest of the band are doing. I can see what's going on in front of me. We tend to play quite big stages if we're doing festivals or we're doing theaters. When we're doing private shows, fine. But like we did a wedding on Saturday, I'm playing on the floor. The audience are on the floor. I've got in-ears on. I didn't feel any disconnection between me and the audience. And for years, obviously, I've played with earplugs in. So that whole, I can't hear what the audience, has never been an issue for me. It's not really a big deal. So you get a lot of people, and dare I say it, retailers trying to sell you things. They're selling your product. They want you to buy a backbeat, or they want you to buy a platform because it's money in their till. Don't be fooled. Use your ears. Try stuff, but rather than go out and say, right, I want in-ears and I need a platform and I need a backbeat, and you don't. Do the small things first. Do the ears, see how you get on. Give it a couple of months. Try them. You may find you don't get on with it at all. But like in our situation where there is no backline, it's not an option. I can't start bringing amps and cabs. We want as little sound on stage apart from the drums, the horns, and the human voice. That's it. We don't want guitars, basses, and keyboards blaring out all over the stage. But I don't feel any sort of disconnect with the audience. I just get on and do it.
Yeah, give it a shot.
A lot of us can be far too pernickety. We're trying to get perfection all the time. I'd rather you put that energy into performing the show. And also, like a platform would never work for me on the Uncle Funk show because I'm all over the stage. I'm dancing about, jigging about. I'm not just stuck. If I was stuck next to the drum kit at the back, then yeah, it would have relevance, but I still wouldn't buy one. And to be honest, I get like CD quality sound. I don't feel like it's any different to listening to a stereo. For me, it's my take on it. You might not feel the same.
Yeah, so you should just try it. Really, you should just try it.
Don't be scared of it. And the thing is, the pricing now is such that if you invested in it and it didn't work for you, you're not shelling out thousands of pounds. It's probably going to cost you £300. I run on a second-hand. Let's see if I've got the bag. That's in the garage. I run on a second-hand Sennheiser G3 setup, which cost me £315 off eBay. £45 set of in-ears. That's it. And if I felt that didn't work, then I could sell it on eBay again and really not make any loss. As it is, I've had that set up for years. And when I bought it, I thought, well, I'll give it a year and then I'll upgrade. I see absolutely no need in upgrading. It works perfectly well. You can keep chasing the best. It's diminishing returns, frankly.
Well, yeah, and the best, of course, is different for everybody as well. So, I mean, like my molded ears were 300, and I've had them for probably 5 or 6 years.
There you go.
Because
so
they really just don't break down, and the more shows I take that people are asking for ears because they're not going to bring a backline on stage. So, I purposely still have, as I'm sure you do, I still have a room full of amplifiers. And, I mean, my stuff's... Oh, yeah. my stuff's all ridiculously
That's only
large.
a bit of it. There's more in the garage.
Right. See, I have 2 Ampeg 8x10s, and I have a special cabinet that was made for the hairband Cinderella that has 4 10s and 2 15s in one big box. And it's got its own rolling case that it lives in. So
you call that the backbreaker.
Well, I also call that the sound crusher because it'll part your hair in 6 places. But I can't. There's very few times I take that rig out with 3 SVTs because there's no call for it anymore. And if I'm getting a call to go do a show and I'm flying out, the ears go in the bag, and I have all that with me. And there is no backline, so everything's running DI. So my Doug Pinnick pedal has an XLR out. Boom, I'm in the board. Yeah. And I can carry everything in one shot, and I'm not concerned about it. And we go in, we get out. So
I think there's also that fact, certainly here in the UK, that what's led to a lot of this stuff becoming more prevalent and cost effective is the fact that so many places, venues, wedding venues, bars and clubs now have huge sound limitations placed on them by the local councils, and living quarters are above venues in a lot of places like flats, right. and complaints about sound and noise. They just, venue owners want money in the till. They don't want to be losing their license because they have bands. So more and more of them now want you to run on in-ears, no backline, feed into a mixer. That then comes out to their system, and they're in control of the volume.
Yeah, they put the drummer in a box, so you've got the drummer in a nice little cage, fishbowl.
Electronic kit.
Them too. I haven't seen too many places come to that yet, but the ones who actually will use are in the UK.
A lot of the wedding venues over here now, you have to have an electronic kit.
Gotcha. I see the drummer going in a fishbowl. They're surrounded by plexiglass. It comes with a roof, and they've got a fan inside, so the drummer's not dying on the vine.
I suggest put a padlock on it and don't let the bugger out. But there we go.
Well, if all you're going to do is hit things,
Let's see what else we got there. Bass Clef, you're in Wisconsin, USA. Good to see you.
Yes,
Russell's on. There's a channel here that broadcasts literally every live thing at their bar. If you want to watch the whole sound engineer for a 3 to 6 band evening thing, I've learned a lot by watching what breaks. Quite. It also lets them blend in from dry board feeds. Okay, usually there's a few mics floating around the club. Almost every sound engineer is using noise gates in places, even if you're not adding in crowd ambient, really make a clean mix down experience later. Yeah. Dawson, adding crowd noise, genius. Russell, I've performed in front of people many times in life, but still have not appeared in front of them as a piano or bass player. There's still time, my friend.
Plenty of time.
Yes, indeed.
As one of my friends would say, you've got plenty of time to make it happen. That's the Curry in me coming out. But yes, you've got plenty of time to do it.
It's getting to that time, you see.
Yeah, it's Curry time.
You'll stop making my mouth water.
You know what I post?
Yes. Yeah, it's like the walking menu. I like it. It's good.
For the Curry spots.
That's it.
There was a guy that came over from UK. His name's Paul Gunn. Do you know him?
Bass player?
Yes.
Paul Gunn.
Strong, tall guy. He's a cool guy. He was Army at one time.
I don't think I know him.
He's cool. But he came over and I took him to my favorite Curry spot because he said he wanted to try something because of what I post. So I kind of set his hair on fire with what I gave him.
That can happen.
Oh, yes.
That can happen. Yeah. I've always enjoyed musician curry nights where there's always one idiot who's trying to outdo everyone else and he goes a little step too far.
Oh, yes.
Funny enough, he's not at the table very long.
Well, it only usually takes one bite if you're not ready for it.
That's right. That's it. Know your limits.
Absolutely. When in doubt, go for it.
If you've got a nasal blockage, that's probably going to help you. Russell, I carry no shame in not knowing how to slap well yet. No, again, there's still time.
No shame
needed. Do you need to know how to slap? Maybe it's not a prerequisite for what you play and how you play it. There's nothing that says you have to. think I said this before. Techniques, and whether it's finger style, pick, slapping, finger tapping, whatever, they're just techniques. They are tonal flavors. It's a way of playing. You don't have to play it like that. It's what works for you. Don't think you have to have all these things at expert level. You don't. I'm proof of that. If anything, I can get by, but I wouldn't say I'm an expert slapper. Compare me with someone like Stuart Clayton, or Nick Smith. They're going to leave me for dust. But what I am is a regular working bass player. I've done about 4,500 gigs. So, paid the mortgage off, and that's all been from playing gigs. And
which is the best part of it.
That's it. Russell, I believe slap will come as a natural evolution of my playing. Absolutely. And getting my setups really, really down close in action. Right. There's this, again, urban myth that in order to slap, you have to have an action that's literally laying on the frets. You don't.
No.
From someone who has played Mark King's Sklarevski encrusted king bass, his action ain't that low. And I remember him looking at me going, "You thought my action would be low, didn't you?" And I said, "I didn't, but I didn't expect it to be this high." He said, "The way I play, I couldn't have a low action." He said, "It wouldn't work. I have to have my action at sort of medium level, just in order to get the clarity of tone. And because I'm quite exuberant when I'm playing, if I had it low, it'd just be buzz all night." He said, "And that's no use."
You can throw a cat between the frets and the strings on his basses.
Put a little blanket underneath. You can get 40 winks under there.
There you go.
Don't ever believe that you have to have super low action to be able to slap. It's rubbish. That again, it's an urban myth. People get into these things where, I've got to have action. It's got to be as low as possible. You don't. No. And actually, most of the time, if you're gigging or recording, someone's going to ask you to raise your strings. Because you're buzzing all over the place. And what's the point? Again, if you're using a wooden necked bass, environmental changes in season, temperature, humidity, your neck's going to move anyway. So having a super low action, you're going to have to sit there and adjust it. So it's up to you.
It's true.
John Cooper, thanks guys. Yeah, my band is all backline free and IEMs. Took some getting used to, but I love the CD quality sound I get from the band. Yeah, I've never heard of a platform. Okay, I'll explain that to you in a second. Something you stand on. Yes. So there's a company called Porter and Davis. They produce a vibrating platform. Basically, it feeds your basic board. You do all however you're getting your sound to front of house, and you take a line out. It goes to this platform that vibrates. So it makes you feel like you're standing in front of an amp as you're playing. They also do a product, you may have seen this more readily, called the butt kicker, which is the drummers. So as they hit the bass drum, they're getting that same as we would on a platform. Other companies have come out with platforms as well. I think Warwick did one. I think
they did.
There've been a couple of companies, yeah. So you can go down that route. The more recent thing, similar to that, is a thing called the backbeat. So it's basically a large block, and as you play, you've got that thing vibrating on your back. I think we're on the second iteration of that. Again, I could go down that road. Choose not to. I don't really feel like I need it. And the other thing was, everyone always complains about basses being heavy and and you've got to have the comfort strap, strap that's padded, reduce the weight, and then what do? You put a big chunk of metal on the back so it vibrates, and it's heavy. So you've got that and a wireless unit and an IEM unit. So all that weight that you've taken off your headstock by having lightweight tuners, you just put straight back on your strap.
Quick. Yes. By the way,
these are the nuggets you get.
These are the jewels. Yes, I actually need to jump off.
That's okay.
So
thank you very much for your time, man.
I appreciate spending some time with you, and for all of you who are on the chat, you guys, gals, guys and girls, much love, bass love to you all.
Thank you. I've really appreciated having you on. So anytime you want to come on, you just send the email. I'll send you the invite. You can come on anytime you like. It's fabulous.
Sounds like a winner. I appreciate you all so much. Until next time.
Yeah, you take care. Have a good week. See you
You
soon.
as well. Cheers. Cheers.
A pleasure. Take care, man. There we go. How about that? That nearly filled a whole live chat. Can't believe he stayed that long. Fabulous, fabulous, fabulous. Thank you, my man. Well done. The lovely Jaymi Millard. How about that? All the way from Nashville. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Right, where were we? Right, it's back to me on my own now. Let's see. It's coming up to 5 to 11 here on Brooksy's Bass Corner live chat 83, coming to you all the way from London here in the UK. I will try and rattle through these messages. So James said, yes, it's really not needed if you move around on stage. Russell, when I aggressively finger pick, it's no problem plucking. It's the small motion of the thumb part that's taking a while, and I don't want to use the fake thumb or ring. Right, Russell, I'm going to give you a link to a video you may find very handy. Just bear with me a minute. I will just call this up. So anyone who was learning the slap in the 80s and 90s, this was a video you can buy by a gentleman by the name of Alexis Sklarevski. You can't really buy, well, you might find secondhand versions, but anyway, this, if you want to learn how to slap, is like essential viewing. Basically, there are various sites that have got it on. They obviously don't own the copyright. I don't know if YouTube is pulling these people up on this, but I'll give you a link anyway, and check this out. I think, oh, actually, there's a better one than that. That just cut the front end off of it. That looks like the whole thing. Yeah, it is. Right. So check this out. This will get you up and running as a slap player. You can thumb scrub no problem, triplets. Okay, it's just feeling like too much work right now. Right, with slapping, you have to relax. There's no point being tense, and it is practice and repetition, like anything with bass play. Practice, repetition, slowing stuff down. Learn to be able to slap slowly, and then you can build speed. Don't go into it trying to histrionics and playing at a million miles an hour. Doesn't work. You got to play exercises and passages from songs and learn to do it slowly. You can then build it up. And it's an experience thing. It takes time. And there's no shortcuts. You can't suddenly just be an amazing slap player. You got to put the work in, put the graft in. Some people like the clank, but they're also running dark glass and down tune, so it's their sound. Okay. I'll get a camera set up and show more than type in the future. That's okay. No problem, man. We're here every Tuesday. And if you're watching this on catch up, so you aren't watching live, if there's anything on tonight's live chat that you want to talk about or respond to or comment on, feel free. Just leave a comment in the comments section. I'll come back to you as soon as I see it. Yeah. So here we are. It's coming up to 11 o'clock. So thank you, everyone, for tonight. It's been an absolute blast. I think you'll agree having Jaymi on was a godsend. So thank you, Jaymi. Well done. But it's been great. Everyone's been on it tonight. So thank you very much. We can carry on for a little while before I call it a day. So if anyone's got any questions, anything they want to ask about basses, bass amps, bass guitars, bass effects, accessories, great bass players, anything we've already discussed tonight. If you want to respond to the topic of conversation, whose bass tone would you most like to emulate, then feel free. Russell, when I'm set up to do live streaming, I'll call in probably any show that will have me. No problem. That's what we're here for. If I can help you in any way, whether it's slapping or anything else, just ask. That's what that's the whole idea of these live chats is. So thanks everyone for being kind. That's what we're a friendly bunch here. We don't tolerate sort of nastiness and people being daft and stupid. So, you know, we kind of filter those people out, although we don't really get that many people like that. We had a few in the very early days of the live chat where you get these idiots come on shouting and screaming and swearing for no reason. They got blocked, and that was the end of that. So, no, we run a friendly ship here. So if you want to join in, you want to come in on the live chat by video, you can just email me, brooksySpaceCorner@gmail.com. If you want to do it in advance, if you know you want to be on a live chat in weeks to come, you can send in emails at any time, and I'll just store them in directories for each week. And yeah, that's I can send you the invites in advance, and then all you got to do is click on it on that given evening. Bill Clements, Jaymi's a great dude, hung a fair amount at various functions. We've never actually, tonight was the first time we've actually talked to each other than typing messages on Messenger. So very good. He looks familiar. Maybe I'm inadvertently subbed to him on YouTube. It happens all the time. Jaymi's got a great YouTube channel, loads of bass reviews and demos on there, which is what we were talking about early on. I still see his stuff pop up in my feed and old reviews. Some of them I've watched multiple times. Sometimes if I'm looking at a bass maybe to buy and he's done a demo or a review of it, I'll watch it just to get a more reasoned impression of what that bass might sound like when I get it. So yeah. Let's see how we're doing here. So yeah, check out that link I've just sent you, Russell, and or that I posted up here, and that will help you with getting your slap stuff sort of up and running, really. I saw another message there. So yeah, so if you've enjoyed tonight's live chat, please leave it. Well, please leave it. What am I talking about? Please give it a thumbs up if you've enjoyed it. If you haven't enjoyed it, and if you're gonna give it a thumbs down, then please leave a comment as to what you didn't like. I can only try and make the videos better if you tell me what you didn't like about them. Feel free to share it out to social media, email, websites, leave comments, all of those things. Likes, shares, comments really help the videos in the eyes of the YouTube algorithm. And the algorithm then promotes the videos out to more bass players. And if we attract more bass players into the live chat, it makes it even better. Oh, dog's barking. Behave yourself in there. So, okay, it's coming up to 11 o'clock. I think I'm not sure if it was construction or a subway, but background noise was quite distracting today. Are you talking where you are, Dawson, or you mean here on the live chat? There shouldn't be any background noise on this video. The only noise was Jaymi tapping on his keyboard. I presume you're referring to where you are. From Pink Bassman Stream. Okay. It was the air conditioning. That's probably what you're thinking of. It was his air conditioning kicking in and out. So, yes, it's just gone 11 o'clock. We've been going just over 3 hours. So I think we're going to wind this down. All I can say is thank you very much to the lovely Jaymi Millard for coming on this evening. Fabulous to spend some time with him. Talk bass. All good stuff. Thank you to everyone who's got involved tonight. Russell, all your messages. Dawson, the lovely Martin Fay, of course. Stacey, John Cooper, Gareth Harrison. I'm scrolling through. Bill Clements, of course. Bass Clef Connoisseur. And the list goes on and on. So thank you to everyone who's got involved tonight. Really appreciate it. It's been a cracker. I'll see you next Tuesday. We'll have the pedal board ready to go because dress rehearsal will be 5 days away. So this week, where am I? Got Uncle Funk on Friday in Whittam near Essex. We're playing at Whittam Public Hall this Friday. If you are in the vicinity, you want to come along, send me a message, brooksySpaceCorner@gmail.com. I've got access to guest tickets, guest list, all of those sort of things. John Cooper, if you're around Friday, you want to come to Whittam? Thanks, Mike, and all. See you next week. Good night. John, if you're still there, if you want to come to the Uncle Funk show this Friday, let me know. I can sort that out for you. I think we're on at, give me 2 seconds. Check the band diary. I can tell you. I think we are on at, what time are we on at? It doesn't say. I haven't got that level of detail here. I would imagine we'll be on around about 7:30, 8 o'clock, and we'll be doing 2 1-hour sets. So if you're in the Whittam area, in Essex, Cambridgeshire, and you want to come down, just email me, let me know, and I will sort that out for you. Other than that, so I think what else is going on this week? Life. That's what's going on this week. Lots of life stuff. Weekend I'll be doing the pedal board videos. There'll be the Wilcock H22 demo be up tomorrow. Probably another video on either Thursday or Friday. And we've got the Flatley Poison Ivy fuzz pedal. That's going to be on. We've got the Neil Murray basses coming up. Got some Anaconda reviews that are long overdue. They need to go up. Some Ibanez bits and bobs and a load of workshop videos and some old vintage interviews. I've got so much stuff coming your way, so keep checking in on the channel. Bill Clements, I got to check him out. Lost touch when I bailed on Facebook. There you go. I've reconnected you. So on that note, thank you very much everyone for this evening. Thank you for all the likes, all the comments, all the shares, new subscribers. Welcome on board. I will see you next Tuesday, same time, same place, 8 o'clock here for Live Chat 84. Keep checking back to the channel this week. It's going to be loads of new content, I promise. Next couple of days, there will be something up tomorrow. So if you want to check out that Wilcock H22 short scale bass from Viv Wilcock here in London, that will be up there tomorrow. On that note, take care of yourselves. Have a great week. I will see you next week. All the best. Look after yourselves. Bye-bye.